Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Rumble in the Realm for the European side of things with a free versus free. My name is Brunch. Joining me is the one, the only, the man with the best hair in the business, Barney himself. How are you doing, my man?
Well, a lot better after that rather wonderful introduction.
I mean, it's true. I got to give it to you. So,
Well, if you do say so.
It is definitely the case. But for today, we will have our Rumble in the Realm free versus free, of course, first few rounds with a double elimination bracket format. It is going to be a best of three spars between a lot of these teams, and there's quite a few here, some veterans, some newer faces, some newer teams, of course, being formed with a mix and match of veterans. But tell me, Barney, what are these players going to fight for?
Well, they are certainly going to be fighting for some actual, some stakes are involved indeed. The first place will be taking 1,500 US dollars, and two of the following costumes, as you may already know: School Days, Teacher's Pet, and Noblesse. The second place will take $1,200. Third place, $900. And fourth place will also take home $300 in Hongmen coins. So
big caveat to that. But of course, also the viewers can be going home not empty-handed, because there will be a few costume giveaways throughout the stream for the Scarlet Bird costumes. So make sure to keep your eyes out for that one. And of course, before we will head into our first match, it will be between Team Spice and Juice and Elusive Fan Club. And of course, it was a matter of time before Julianne Elusive got her own fan club, of course, well-deserved. But on the other side of things, with Spice and Juice, this team is made out of Glacier, Force Master Zakania on the Assassin, and Luki Fangirl, or also known as A, on the Blade Master. It's an interesting comp because I have a lot of veteran names, but overall, looking at it, you wouldn't think it would necessarily be the optimal one nowadays in the current state of things with balance.
Certainly not, especially with Blade Master having fallen out of the meta, if you will, some time ago, especially because they don't have the same skill that Blade Dancers do in that Maelstrom. Instead, they have to settle for the Winged Protector, which is not as efficient. It doesn't guarantee you the 2 seconds of invulnerability. It has its quirks as well, of course, being able to remove targetability entirely for your teammates, at least. But ultimately, it is not as good as well. The Force Master, certainly a very, very powerful class. But in 3 versus 3, where Hongmen ultimates are indeed a factor and can be at play, the Force Master is rather lacking in that department. And as we've seen in previous tournaments, can go in the complete opposite direction to where your enemy now is.
And that could definitely play a big part to sway things in favor of Spice and Juice. But on the other side of things, in Elusive Fan Club, we actually have a Soul Fighter in the name of Linne. We have a Summoner played by Electra, and Destroyer by Sir OP Chinese. So definitely some familiar names there too. But unfortunately for them, not really any past high results in the tournament scene overall.
Alas, not so much. Sir OP Chinese definitely had a fairly good showing back at the Battle Brawl. He showed that he is definitely quite competent at his class, and I'm expecting for him to be quite a bit more, confident this time around, and to actually show off exactly how much prowess he has. I'm very concerned about the Soul Fighter pick. Having played Soul Fighter extensively myself, I know that, well, simply put, there are better options right now. But you never know. They might pop off. They might just be the MVP. We'll have to wait and see exactly how that plays out. Best of luck to that.
And one thing that will be at least for certain is if they don't get singled out, targeted out, bursted out early, this team will have insane sustain, right? The Soul Fighter, especially with the ultimate, can really help his teammates in terms of that utility he brings. And of course, we all know summoners, how annoying they can be when facing off against them in terms of their sustain. And again, it's going to be very difficult on one hand for their opponents in Spice and Juice to find that opening, to find those kills. But at the same time, if they get somebody out of the picture early on, it's going to be very hard to recover or make anything happen in return, because outside of that Destroyer, How do you feel about the Soul Fighter tag-ins? Because as you said, generally it seems like there are better options, right?
It's pretty sketchy. I'd say Soul Fighter doesn't exactly have amazing tag-ins. Actually, that's being very generous. They don't really have good tag-ins. Probably the best you can do is come in and do one of two things. You can use stage 1 of Chi Burst, which gives your allies a 200% defense boost and restores a little bit of their health. Or the second thing that you could do is use the knockback ground ripple in order to buy yourself some time. However, unlike the destroyer assist with that knockback red spin, as we know, the wall bang combo, very, very powerful. Soul Fighter can't do that. Single wall bang, not as effective. As such, Soul Fighter tag-ins should primarily be used for pure offense, coming in with the focus chi. If they manage to get lucky, essentially, with their critical strikes, Dragon Fury absolutely just shreds through people. Having to force them into a defensive role, very, very suboptimal. Definitely do not want to be put in that situation. And if they die, well, you've lost probably your strongest defensive thing, because very much like with a Kung Fu Master, you are forced into that route. You have to go aggressive with the Soul Fighter tag-ins, or you're just being suboptimal.
And before, of course, we continue on, as it seems like one of the players is having a little bit of issues, technical issues, so hopefully it will be sorted out soon enough so we can have our first round underway. But in the meantime, I do want to remind you to make sure that you follow Blade Soul on the official Twitch page, of course, for any upcoming content previews as well as future tournaments. You can definitely make sure to get notified through that follower notification, as well as the other social media platforms on YouTube. You can definitely also check back in if you missed out on any of the action, as well as the North American side of the Rumble in the Realm, where we had some surprising results, but still don't want to spoil anything. Of course, you definitely want to make sure to check that one out as well. But here, for the EU side of things, just looking at the brackets again overall, a few of the other teams that caught my eye were definitely teams like Unlucky. Luki, of course, now not being with bad intentions as opposed to last year, has gone on his own path with two other players in Anthrax and Cymex. And that is going to be somewhat interesting because Luki, we've seen him play both the Blade Master and Destroyer in the 1v1 Rumble in the Realm. And of course, we also know that Cymex could very well play both the Summoner and Gunslinger.
Indeed, Gunslinger, the new class on the block, but certainly a very strong class, especially after its recent buffs, which many have strong feelings either way towards Gunslinger nowadays. But certainly in the context of 3 versus 3, they definitely have probably one of the best offensive tag-ins right now, I'd say. Coming in with that Tombstone, upon activation, you are granted 2 seconds of immunity to everything. So essentially, you get a free Maelstrom for your damage, and your unload just becomes unblockable all of a sudden. It's incredible damage that is incredibly difficult to avoid. You can't block it, you can't really mitigate it in any way unless you have a specific comp for that. So instead, you have to use your resist as best you can. But as well, the Gunslinger is not just damage, it has plenty of crowd control to go with it. It's a very, very dangerous situation to be forced into, especially if you have just used all of your strafes or other iframe abilities and you're caught out. Gunslinger just has free reign. They can just jump in and be, hey, I guess you're dead now.
I mean, it just can happen in the split second with how much damage they have, especially when those aerials, of course, as they did have that launch change as well recently. But another team that most definitely caught my eye is Bai, or Bai exclamation mark. I don't know how it's best to point out, which is made out of, yeah, exactly, out of Colorized, Ace 5, and Mumchen. And this could very well be the dream team in terms of the composition itself, with a Destroyer and Colorized, Ace 5 on the Gunslinger and Warlock. Those resets, damage potential, of course, during a wall bang, if you have a Gunslinger out or even a Warlock, we all know how quickly those rounds can end in those scenarios too. And it's going to be another one that I feel like you want to keep your eyes out for.
It definitely. It really is disgusting when the gunslinger isn't forced to use the second version of Tombstone, and they get to use the first version, because that then unlocks Bulletstorm, a very, very powerful ability that has no right to be used in Arena. But if you have a destroyer who is essentially granting you free reign over that with the wallbang combos, well, that person is dead, guaranteed. So you definitely do not want to be caught in that situation. Certainly many players who were present at the Battle Brawl have learned their lesson, or I should certainly hope they've learned their lesson. If your back's to the wall, get out of there. You do not want to, like poor old Ares was in the Battle Brawl, just constantly, well, very intimate with the wall he was, and not by his own will.
Most definitely not by his own will. It's just unfortunate when that happens, and you know you're powerless against it too, is what makes it worse. So when you see it happening, it starts happening, and you're just at that point all you can do is really accept your fate. But of course, once again, apologies for the short delays. We will have our match underway as soon as possible. Some technical issues with the players still setting up, and as soon as they are ready, of course, we will be moving on. Just looking, as said, throughout the bracket, throughout the teams, we can also talk a little bit about other ones like Deletion Service, which has players like Brotherbill, WLAJ, and Nerdeal, Sin, Warlock, Blade Dancer, and Bill. We haven't seen too much of him in recent times with the sort of 1v1 Rumble or such, but in terms of 3v3, I do look forward to seeing what his team will be able to do now that he has also gone off from his past teammates in Ares and Zappish.
Yeah, I actually was a little bit upset that he wasn't present for the Battle Brawl. Him, along with Jiro, I was certainly expecting to make an appearance, but it seems that they have chosen their time very well. They are going to make a wonderful showing this time around. I certainly hope so. Come on, give us a good show. But with the time that he's spent away, I'm certain that he's been practicing hard. He's been perfecting his craft. After all, you know, he for the longest time has been known as the ground game god, so we'll have to, hopefully he'll continue to live up to his name this time around.
And it seems like we will go ahead and move on instead to a match between Team Wheelchairs and Last Second Team. And here in Last Second Team, there are definitely some familiar names in Mepeki on the Sin, Intro on the FM, also been previously casting some Blade Soul. You all should be familiar with him, most definitely. And of course, Dang Gunner on Gunslinger. And that's a lot of range damage, Barney.
Yeah, it's it's quite unfun to be against, certainly, especially as you mentioned before, the Gunner with that aerial damage from Crossfire. Really disgusting. Should be noted, actually, that because of the way the Gunsling operates within the aerials, they actually buy themselves quite a bit of time. In that time, the Assassin, as we've seen with previous teams, as Ryuki has certainly demonstrated in the past as well, jumping in with that blue buff, with the aerial mine, combined with the increased crit rate and crit damage on the Gunner's Crossfire, you could just die straight away and have no recollection of what just happened. You just vanish into thin air. It's certainly a very, very powerful combination, and you, of course, have the Force Master with that party iframe, the Frost Sheath to save your teammates should the need arise. Seems very, very strong to me.
Most definitely. Of course, also the side of their opponents with Wheelchairs, they have their very own Gunslinger, but the one thing that they do have over their opponents in terms of the composition is a Warlock, and if there's something that's been a consistency in terms of the top teams with 3 versus 3 throughout the past year is they all had a Warlock. So those resets definitely will be coming in strong once again for this team too. But some of these names I'm not too familiar with, such as Pum Pum, Javaro on the Warlock, and Suriv on the Blade Dancer. Are you somewhat familiar with some of these players?
I've seen Suriv here and there. He definitely seems to have an idea of what he's doing. I haven't seen enough to pass solid judgment. I certainly think that because of the class that he's chosen, he has a lot of competition in terms of the class itself. There are plenty of fantastic Blade Dancers out there. Pieb, most notably, I think, is just he does things with the class that people didn't even know were possible. I remember at the Battle Brawl as well, people were looking at his gameplay and commenting and saying, "Huh, I didn't know you could do that." And his reactions were just the best. Of course I did that. That's just what you do. Obviously to do that. What are you talking about? So he has quite a bit of competition, this new Suriv person, but you never know. He might just come out and be like, "Hey, I'm the new up-and-coming Blade Dancer. Watch out for me."
Could definitely happen, but the problem is, as I said, so much competition. We've seen even the likes of Empathy come back with the 1v1 brawl. Unfortunately, he's not participating this time around in the free versus free side of things. Maybe still looking for a team, but with so much stacked competition, of course, you have Brother Bill, even players like BD Ryoku or Bolcut stepping up too. I definitely think he's been somewhat of a standout when it comes to the teams he's played in. With his Blade Dancer, also a potential challenger there, of course. So it's going to be difficult, but an interesting showing nevertheless. Soon enough, again, as soon as we can get the players readied up and good to go. Fortunate that we will have a couple more delays with all these technical difficulties, but should be resolved soon enough. And of course, it's been a while since we casted Barney. In terms of these ultimate changes, especially, in your opinion, if you were to do like a top 3 ultimates in the game to look out for, which ones would those be?
In first place, it would be simply incorrect to not mention Assassin's Ultimate. It's so very quick. 3 hits in
Stabby.
no time at all. If you can set that up perfectly, if you get the aerial launch and time it perfectly, that person has no way to react. You can't even be like, "Oh, I'm gonna spam my escape key as best I can to try and get out as soon as I hit the ground." No. You're dead before you hit the ground. Unfortunately for you, there's nothing you can do about that. Probably the next biggest one, the one that has seen the most success at least, is the Giga Blade from Blade. Yeah. It seems to have this hidden effect where it causes brain lag in the person about to receive it. They see it and they think, "Huh, I should probably not get hit by that." But they're already dead by the time it gets to that point. Good old Tenor demonstrated that for us. Sorry for bringing that up again, buddy.
I mean, it definitely can happen. And of course, that was the top 2 for you. Do you think, even with all the problems Soul Fighter has, with the utility they do bring in, that potential reset with the big heals coming in, is that good enough to rocket the class to a higher ranking in terms of its utility, at least with the ultimates, or is that still not enough?
Yes and no. It's certainly very, very good, but you need to be incredibly well coordinated with your team in order to have 2 people on the field at the same time when you use it. Otherwise, only one person is getting that benefit. Additionally, although it does have a certain amount of resistance to it, you can definitely attack through it. You can proc those iframes that you get, and then if you interrupt the Soul Fighter, they're going to be very, very sad, because every single tick does more. So it gets better the longer you channel it. And then obviously the final tick doubles your health pool. Getting to that, if you get it, is just an incredible boost to have, and can reset the situation entirely, especially if you get more than one teammate in there. But I don't think anybody is quite going to do that. I don't think anybody's just going to stand by the sidelines and think, "I should probably do something about that," instead of actually doing something about that. We'll have to wait and see. I definitely think that if it does come out, people are going to be ready for it.
And we'll see whether or not we will actually get to rejoice in Soul Fighter gameplay later down the line. Of course, once again, terribly sorry for all the delays when it comes to the free versus free format and setup on the online side of things. It can be a little bit tricky, and some of these players are not quite ready. We will have the extra time. Of course, in the meantime, I guess at the very least, we can update you on some of the bracket updates. It seems like Team Unlucky is cruising through the winners bracket so far, having 2-0 victories in terms of their matchups. And I'm somewhat surprised, but at the same time, as said, definitely one of the teams you're gonna be looking out for. And I'm really curious as to whether or not Cymex is playing the Gunslinger or his Summoner. He's played quite a bit of both, and he's the only Gunslinger I've seen in recent memory actually also play Shadow in 1v1. Of course, they're not in a tournament setting, but is there any merit to it, Barney, or is it just Cymex doing Cymex things?
Well, Cymex, as we all know and love, always does Cymex things. You can never quite predict him. Obviously, as before, when we were thinking, way back in the last year at the wild card, for instance, we thought, yeah, he's definitely going to go for the safer option. He's going to be helpful to his team. He's going to be saving them and whatnot. No, he went bees and blue pedal toss. Who cares? He didn't care. Obviously, it won him the game. Shadow Gunslinger, interesting, very interesting. I'm not sold on it personally. I think Crossfire is substantially stronger. However, Undertaker, the same key, just in the Shadow build, it also hits aerial units, so it can also be used in aerials, and it has a shorter cooldown than Crossfire does. Crossfire has a 30-second cooldown, but Undertaker only has 18, and that it actually does hurt quite a bit because of its effects as well. It can help you to prevent getting light speed. People, any gunner that has attempted Shadow in PvP probably doesn't want light speed because you don't have the focus for it. As cool as it is, you can't actually utilize it in any way, shape, or form. And Undertaker sorts that issue for you nicely by reducing your gauge by 50.
And of course, there's also the benefit of having the Tombstone on a shorter cooldown through Shadow down to 45 seconds, I believe, for the safer option if you just want to have that 2-second window of opportunity as well. But as you said, of course, not something we should expect overall.
It is Cymex, you never know.
Yeah, that's the one caveat, right, at the end of the day. And it seems like we might see them go up against Bed Inventors at some point, which should be an interesting matchup considering that is going to include, of course, a team of Area, Zappish, and Pieb. Pieb, as you've praised them, we've praised them for a good reason. One of the top, if not the top blade dancer in the European scene or in the West, for that matter. Of course, as we've seen through the brawl, definitely one to keep your eyes out for as well. Zappish, the KFM master himself in areas, of course, on that Warlock too.
Yeah, but I certainly do wish Areas good luck this time around because he played exceptionally well in the Battle Brawl. He was just a bit unfortunate in terms of where he got caught out. It definitely seemed like the opposite team, especially Mr. B, was he had it out for him for sure. He was. I'm not going to let you do anything. You're by the wall. This is your time to die, my friend. But again, as you mentioned, Area is definitely quite a good player. All three of them very, very good. Team hasn't really changed all that much. In fact, at all from the Battle Brawl. Maybe they have worked on their team synergy a bit more. They might be able to do a few more strategies here. Areas playing the Warlock, as we know, as we've already mentioned, Warlock. If you have one, chances are you're going to go far, just by way of the class. And if he manages to actually pull off the stunts he wants to, the aerial combos, assisting his teammate with the time distortion, being able to reset all of their important cooldowns or the ones that are able to be reset. Yeah, just a few that you can't. But for the most part, most importantly, the second wind, the escape skill for most classes, definitely that is important to have up and ready. Reset the situation. It's very good.
Very good to say the least. Incredible utility, but just looking more at these brackets as we get to talk about these teams, and at some point, guys, we will actually see the action happen before our very own eyes. At some point, we'll get there. We'll have the players ready to set it up.
Eventually.
Deletion service versus buy. That's, again, should be another interesting one in the second round of the winner's side of the bracket. Just because, again, it's Brother Bill's new team that is in terms of the composition itself, also very dangerous with a Warlock on the side, Assassin and Ne'er-Deal 2 versus Bai, which could be the new flavor of the month comp, if you will, with that Destroyer, Gunslinger, and Warlock themselves. It's another one of those matchups that should dictate who we can expect to see in the finals, at the very least in the upper bracket side of things. Of course, one of them will be knocked out, but not down and out of the tournament just yet. Remember, the format of the tournament is, of course, double elimination. So you have 2 shots at making it through to the next round. And unfortunately for some of these teams, it seems like actually we already have HaWow out of the picture, which is quite unfortunate, because it is a team made out of BD Ryoku, or also known as, of course, Bolcut, B-Duck, and also Jiro, who is the Rumble in the Realm 5 1v1 victor.
Yes, for those that didn't see it, I definitely recommend you go and watch it, because he kind of showed why he's deserving of such a point. The way that he played was very fast-paced. I was very impressed with his actual reaction speed. He did that very, very well, and I mean, I did shout him out at the Battle Brawl, courtesy of Ryuki. Actually, he wrote that little memo that I held up. It's a bit of a shame we won't get to see him in the 3 versus 3. Would have been quite nice, but at least he himself doesn't go home fully empty-handed. He did win the 1 versus 1 and got the prizes from that.
Of course, indeed. And looking forward, of course, eventually, potentially into things such as wildcard and regionals, if they're going to happen once again this year. It's going to be interesting to see all these different teams show up, because a lot of them have the potential of making it through all the way to regionals. And there's going to be even more teams popping up too. As said, we've seen some of the older players return, in the likes of Empathy on the Blade Dancers. So I definitely expect to see a bunch of them still make a couple of new teams and still be contending for this top 8 spots, so they get to qualify for said tournament, which is going to be very exciting, to say the least. But what's also very exciting is the fact that it seems like the players are slowly getting there. We might actually have a match on our hands, PogChamp, in a couple of seconds to minutes. Hopefully. I don't know any timings as of yet. Again, definitely at the very least, make sure to check out Blade Soul over on YouTube for any upcoming content, video previews, live streams. Of course, all of them will be posted there, the VODs. If you miss out on any of the action, you can check back in with it over there, as well as Twitter. Follow Blade Soul on Twitter for any news in terms of just, again, all of the things, PvE, PvP, all the good stuff.
Yeah, and be sure to also follow them on Twitter if you want. You could also follow us, I suppose.
For our shenanigans?
For our shenanigans, of which there might be many. We're not going to spoil anything for you. Take your pick.
Exactly. And I'm still impressed that you finally went through and made your own Twitter account. It took Julianne and Margaret quite a lot of convincing, but enough of our shenanigans. There's actually a code giveaway. So if you want to, or rather an outfit giveaway, if you want to get your hands on the, once again, as I keep messing up the names, the Scarlet Bird costume, make sure to follow through with the link. And it seems like we actually have our players ready to go in about 30 seconds. I can't believe this, Barney, but again, it will be wheelchairs versus last second team starting up soon.
Yeah, great team names. Can't imagine what sort of classes they might have, given the community's general take on those shenanigans. But you know, we finally have something to talk about, right? we're getting into a match. So you know, I wish to congratulate these players on finally figuring out how to start a game. Thank you very much, and I guess we'll have to wait and see how the matches play out. Certainly, we've already kind of missed a little bit, but they're already actually going in with Gunslinger Mirror. We'll have to wait and see how it goes. Already starting off with the 2 Sky Stones, trying to buy themselves some time and looking for the opening. The resist used by both of them, trying to burn through it as quickly as they can. Now Dazed Gets the tech chase, launch into the air, big damage, already forcing out Intro to use that Frost Sheath. Now getting some return damage on the thing goes bum, bum. Whoa, the Crossfire does huge amounts, and the Inferno as well. Now trying to buy himself some time with the Sky Stones. The Tombstone comes out, massive damage, wheelchairs. Oh my god! The thing has to immediately go out, just barely surviving now. Dangunner has to try and buy himself some time as well. Very strong start here.
That was so dangerous, almost got obliterated out of his existence right there. But Javarl is back in this time around on the Warlock, actually trying to go in. Dangunner still in the fray. Finally is going to go ahead and tag out as Mepeki is the one to play on that Sin. It's thrown up into the air just a little bit. Now Dazed Up should have all the different defensive up and available soon enough. Of course, he does have that Tab Escape ready to go, but so does the Warlock, if need be, on the side of wheelchairs, as still unable to quite find an opening just yet. The re-stealth is good on the side of Mepeki, as he will manage to connect the stun. Now with the tag in, is going to go ahead and actually force that thing goes pump back in. I think that is a slight mistake on their end, but I think he should still be able to stay safe. He does have the Tab Escape. He does go ahead, uses the Sky Stone, just jumping around at this point, as Mepeki is still in the fray on the other side for the last second team here. Let's go ahead and go through with the bombards. Gets Dazed Up, launched up into the air. A lot of damage could come in. Ooh, Alpha Call. It's going to come out.
Now he's just trying to buy himself some time. The thing's going to have his Tombstone up very soon. Skystone still on cooldown. Yeah, he's just going to tag right out of there. Suriv now coming in to the matchup with Intro. Not very favorable at all. Trying to get him into the wall. A bit of a mistimed tag in right there. The Frostburst actually freezing Suriv in place, not actually being able to do too much. But now the Wallbang comes out, massive damage, so high in fact it sent the camera flying. And now Suriv trying to get a little bit of damage. He doesn't have his Tab Escape up now. He does still have his Flock of Blaze, but there is the assist from Joel on that Warlock, resetting his very crucial second wind, trying to buy himself some time all the way to the opposite ends. The 5-point strike does manage to connect after the Guardian Tempest avoids a stun. Tries to get some ground game on him with the lightning draw. Quite a bit of damage, not too much. The second wind forced out. Now he's at the wall. This is a terrible situation. No. But luckily, the stun managed to allow him to use his second wind. Intro being protected by that Divine Velvet. Now, actually manages to get to the Phantom Grab and gets the return launch into the air. Has to make some room after the assist comes in. And now, all at the other ends of the arena.
Ooh, that was looking very dangerous for a second there, but of course the second win is available for Suriv, so still has that defensive option. He does go in, actually connects with the stun, tries to go for the blade draw, but misses so far. Phantom Grip does connect, so we'll see whether or not we might actually get an assist on both sides here, as he's gonna go ahead, drop him down. He's waited out another KD, beautifully done. Tab Escape was actually popped but dodged in terms of that.
This could be devastating. Oh, but he's frozen, he can't capitalize on that.
Frost Armor will keep Intro safe for now. He does not have that Tab Escape available. The Warlock comes in. Actually, beautiful timing on his end, as he does manage to connect onto the Gunslinger, getting him extremely low. I'm not quite sure if he does have the Time Warp just yet, but he's done so much work with that single damage window of opportunity there, as we'll try to do a little bit more Tombstone. We'll get popped though by Dangunner. He's gonna try and survive, maybe for something out of his opponent, but so far, Jawarl, what a good position here.
Yes, the article did come out, and so he does have access to his second escape. Again, it doesn't matter! The untappable leech combo just destroys him instantly. Joel popping off here. And now
he goes for the ultimate!
Oh, the initial hit actually chunking Intro down, but luckily, Intro did have the Frost Sheet now. Trying to get some return damage with that wall bang combo. Gets launched into the air by Suriv. Getting huge damage, not actually being able to place the Divine Veil. Intro on 11% health, has to tag out immediately into Mepeki. Hopefully he can carry this back down, but it's definitely a very good turnaround from the side of wheelchairs. The ultimate is available for Mepeki. This could be the final blow. If he manages to land it, is he going to go for it? Oh, the gravity well actually messes him up. And the webbing as well. The return launch because of the Thrall onrush. Mepeki taking huge damage. What is this?
From MVP.
Our second team is now just in such a terrible position. That Thrall, though.
Unlucky right there. Elusive is going to be able to heal back up. He does not have the tab escape. Actually goes ahead and tries to go for the stun. Does have that ultimate of his own available. Goes in for the air launch. Actually connects and secures the kill for it too. Mepeki, only standing member here for last second team. It's going to be incredible. But now, actually, Giga Blade snipes him. He gets it. Style points. That's what I'm talking about. Wheelchairs. Flashy plays. And not quite the best performance in terms of the gunslinger side of things, but oh man, I gotta say, I gotta give it to, of course, Jawal on that Warlock, as well as Dave on the Blade Dancer, still playing it really well, managing to turn things around and securing themselves the win.
Yeah, that was awful. Well, I'll be honest, I wasn't expecting that ultimate to connect at all. It definitely looked like he didn't. He kind of forgot that you can actually turn and aim that a little bit. So, final hit, landed, bit anticlimactic, was expecting for that to go on a little bit longer, kind of like a heroic last stand, but instead it just, fizzled a little bit. Most unfortunate. Most unfortunate indeed.
And what I'm curious about is, how would things look like if Mepeki didn't get just absolutely noped by the fraud there? If, considering the fact that he did have his ultimate, if he would have gotten off an assassination on his opponent and getting the Warlock, or rather gotten the Warlock out of the picture, with that potential turnaround, it could definitely also have gone in the favor of the other side here. So unfortunate for now, but we will be moving on to the second round. We'll see whether or not we'll have Wheelchairs securing themselves the series win, or if, of course, last second team can turn things back around. And Barney, considering that last performance, will we see the gunslingers come in out to play first off again?
Well, Gunslinger, I think, should be reserved for later. I definitely think that if you have a Warlock, they should be starting it off. But unfortunately, it does seem like they're going to start off with the Gunslingers again. Dangana getting that very cheesy opener, going just ham on the opposing team, but not able to get too much. The alcohol coming out from the side of Dangana, I believe. And now trying to do a little bit of damage. Now the alcohol as well from the other side. Joal being forced in. Dangana making himself some space. Trying to close the gap, maybe get something on, but the hook shots are just so good at avoiding things. Intro, unfortunately, taking a Tether Blade upon entry, already forced out of a second wind escape. He does still have backstep, but now launch into the air. Not able to do too much. The Frost Orbits are being the most valuable player this time around for the side of last second team. Now frozen up. Gonna see. Okay, no, yeah, he's just gonna freeze himself a second time. All right, you do you, Intro.
And not quite sure whether or not that time warp was quite the best choice there. At the very least, he will have a full reset in terms of his cooldown. Heal back up, and now with the air launch, is going to prompt an assist on both sides.
Assist! That didn't help at all! Oh no!
Oh, Intro forced to tag out with a lot of HP loss in that engage, and now with the turnaround potentially with the Gunslinger damage in the aerial, but the return with the Blade Dancer tagging in here for the side of Wheelchair, they will be able to chunk Dangunner out. Quite a bit of his HP. Jawal, of course, still in for now. Finally, has decided to tag out, as we'll have the Gunslinger face off against the Blade Dancer this time around. Dangunner still guarding away with those wires. Should still have a couple of those resources up potentially, but forces that tab escape, and now stunned up. Can he find an opening here? Phantom Grip does not connect. The air launch is going to be good off of the Tombstone, but we'll see Jawal tag in and take quite a lot of damage himself. So he does save his teammate, but at what cost, Barney?
Indeed, this definitely looks a little bit grim for last second team. Intro on such low health, and without his frost armor there, second escape being used by the thing goes pum pum. And now Tombstone trying to get some damage out. The Alpha Call is down as well. 8 seconds. He'll have his second escape again. There we go. Into the Skystone, getting some good damage, buying himself quite a bit of time. They say nothing runs quite like a well-oiled machine, but he certainly is out to prove that incorrect with those wonderful, wonderful slingshots as well. And he's on the other side of the arena again, because of course he is. But now he's finally taking quite a bit of damage, being forced into a very unfortunate situation. Suriv is there with the Maelstrom to save him out. Actually, Mepeki gets deflected. Very unlucky there, mate. not able to catch him out of stealth there with that bulldoze. But now, this is just looking worse and worse for last second team, isn't it?
And now, especially with Javarl coming in to play, he should have that time warp available. Actually forced to use that position swap in terms of breaking that CC. Does have the Sanctum back up. So far, Intro just buying himself a lot of distance between himself and his opponent in that Warlock. Now will be able to dash through, looking for an opportunity, but he's dropping really low. Now at 16% HP. Time Warp is going to come out, and even with Mepeki tagging in, he's going to have to run away, as the Time Warp will give Jawarl, in this case, all the resets and all the safety he needs, especially now with the connection there. He's going to be able to do a little bit of damage, force out that tab escape out of Mepeki, and if Mepeki gets caught off guard now, it's most likely going to go out, as we'll see. He can try to go back in, connecting with the stun. We'll try to go follow up with a mine connection. Doesn't get too successful there. Launches him up into the air. Can the fall damage be good? So far, it seems like the fall is still being a pest, as Sarif is going to be able to come instead of his Warlock team member there. Intro back in on that Force Master 2. Guardian Tempest, though, is going to keep Sarif alive and well.
Intro with that Frost Armor back up again, healing a huge amount of health. Definitely what they needed. They still have quite a bit of time. So much has happened in such a short amount of time, but now Intro does have his ultimate available. As we mentioned, not fantastic, but we'll see if he manages to utilize it well. Immediately just dropped after the Phantom Grip, and now just being destroyed by the Crossfire. Very timely by Mepeki, but he pays the price with his life. Very, very unfortunate. How could this happen? Intro trying to get some return damage onto Sarif, but the Guardian Tempest is just too good. Creates the Frost Field, but it's not enough. He has the iframe. He's able to backstep out of it, and that ultimate is just utterly wasted. What a shame indeed.
Unfortunate there. Mepeki trying to be the savior gets punished by the opponents there. Still 3v2. Not over just yet, as we'll see Sarif try to go in. He does have the Tapscape available. Actually connects to the Phantom Grip, so he might be able to find an opportunity, especially considering Intro does not have Tapscape available. Draw. It's going to block the Ice Guard, so Intro well time of that department, but gets the stun off of it. The timing was exceptional there by Sarif, but now forced to use his Tapscape. The wallbang is going to catch both of them there. Get Intro actually somehow secure a kill onto Jawarl. No! Unfortunate. Almost gets something done. Wasn't quite there. And Dan Gunner, he needs to be the MVP for his team, but such a tall task to ask of him, as he will get dazed up. So as the Tapscape actually trying to go for the ultimate there, I believe, but decides to opt out. Of course, the Gunslinger ultimates not quite as effective most of the time, or easy to land, especially with the snipe, but
most
look to say the least. Let's put it bluntly, but the Tombstones will come out and play. So far, still Gunslingers doing Gunslinger things, darting around. One secondary, one side of the arena, other secondary on the other end, as so far still unable to do too much damage. But Dan Gunner is finally gonna go out, and Wheelchairs secure the series 2-0.
Well, that was just completely unlucky, I'd say. Even though Dan Gunner did get the optimal gunslinger opener, in heavy quotation marks and super emphasis on that sarcasm, his team didn't quite fall around him as best as they needed to. Mepeki, of course, definitely not choosing opportune times to tag in. I wasn't too sure. There was one point where Intro was getting just completely blown up, and Dan Gunner came in. And at that point, I thought that would have been better if Mepeki came in and actually saved his teammate instead. Perhaps a miscommunication there. When we can't be too certain, but Mepeki certainly, when he paid the price for assisting his teammate, that set them back a whole lot, because Assassin can buy a lot of time, but only as long as they're alive.
That is a big important factor, of course. And next up, we will have Spice and Juice versus Elusive Fan Club coming up. Finally, it seems like they've managed to sort out their technical issues, and of course, that is going to be for Spice and Juice, Glacier on that Force Master, Zucania on Assassin, and Luki Fangirl or Zay as the Blade Master.
Yeah, so after Luki kind of stepped away for a little while, he had a bit of downtime to himself. During that, Zay was the one that came in and showed that, hey, Blade Master's not dead, guys. Come on, look at me. I can still do this. And he did some very incredible things. He sort of revitalized the class in a sense, and I'm very glad that he did. Hopefully he'll be able to showcase that skill in this matchup. But as we mentioned before, although on the side of Elusive Fan Club, I'm still very, very on the fence about the Soul Fighter. The Summoner and Destroyer are certainly going to try and make Zay's life miserable. So definitely going to have to watch out for that one, I feel.
And considering, of course, the compositions in terms of what we expect to be the opener, we've seen, of course, the gunslingers come out on both sides in the last series. This time around, of course, having a few different options. No gunslinger for either team. We might just see, of course, for the side of Spice and Juice, have somebody like Zukanya start things out on the Assassin. That's what I would expect. Of course, you don't necessarily want to have somebody like Zay, that we talked about, come out to play first, because he has that party protect, and that is something you want to keep in your back pocket in case you need it, of course. And on the other side, with that Soul Fighter, do you actually think he's going to be the one to start things off here for Elusive Fan Club?
Well, it seems that he is, and he does actually manage to avoid a rather unfortunate opener. Good prediction, mate. Good prediction. The elbow counter managing to avoid the rather cheesy Lotus kick, but the swap into an immediate launch. Now trying to... Oh, he actually misses the webbing Sukanya. That's so unfortunate. There's the ground ripple into the knockback, of course, and now trying to get some good damage onto him. Linnae being saved as well by Electra. Kind of back at neutral. Sukanya at a little bit of a disadvantage, and of course the percentages for Soul Fighter are, you should remember, are always skewed. They do have 69,000 max health when they use their infamous Chi Burst, but now he's actually taking a lot of damage regardless. Manages to backstep into Sukanya with the Frost Nova. Now just dancing around each other beautifully, but the ground ripple denies Sukanya that stealth, and now just going completely ballistic on him with that Frost Storm. Unable to block because of the ground ripple. Oh, very, very, very timely save. Now Glacier being forced in. That could have been Sukanya's death if that went on any longer.
That was so close, but now Electra coming in will be stunned up, takes quite a bit of damage. Glacier will manage to stay safe himself with the help of that Ice Guard. Now looking for another potential opening here. We'll just go ahead and throw down the Meteor Shower, looking for extra damage. Electra just now finally able to pop that Dandy. Does have that Hellstorm still up, goes in for the daze. So Glacier still gonna dance around. The infamous ranged battles have commenced between the Force Matches Summoner, but now we will see actually a swap coming in from the Elusive Fan Club side of things. And that Destroyer looking for an opening, gets the knee, so something potentially to be done here as both of them actually use the Tab Escape and goes for the Typhoon. Maybe trying to go for that wallbang, not quite sure, but the position was definitely not quite there. Let's have that Stone Shield Procton going to go in. He actually gets the air connection there, but the help coming in on both sides, especially now with Lucky Fangirl, it should be able to come in and do a lot of damage on Electra.
That Searing Slash certainly chunking her down. A very, very unfortunate tag in. Very well timed by Zay as well. But now in a bit of an unfortunate situation. The Pedal Storm able to protect Electra from Glacier's onslaught, but wow.
Okay.
Wow. I blinked and Sukanya came in with that blue buff, with that poison breath, and Electra is, well, not in existence anymore, shall we say.
We'll see whether or not Lena can still do something here, because Glacier is still in this round, or rather still in the game right now with 3 seconds to go. He will be tagged out soon enough. It seems like he's going to play it safe. Finally, we'll see Lucky Fangirl come in. Lena not finding an opportunity to capitalize off of it. Wasn't quite sure with the timing potentially, as we will see actually the save eventually by the Destroyer. That could have been very dangerous. Actually, even Zay tried to get an air launch there on top of things too. Another tag out for the side of Elusive Fan Club, as so far Spice and Juice in a pretty dominant position here.
Absolutely. Although unfortunately Zay is now out of very important cooldowns. He doesn't have his Searing Slash, he doesn't have his Flock of Blades, so a grab is very devastating to him right now. And he just used his Soaring Falcon. A minute cooldown on all 3 of those, but he does manage to actually go between the spins. This could actually end up destroying him instantly. What
the ultimate! Beautiful execution there. That's a flashy play right there, to say the least. Lune, the only standing member for Elusive Fan Club at this point. I mean, I don't know how it can do anything here, especially after that sort of play coming out of Spice and Juice. who just needs to secure the round here now, looking for the shoulder charge. We'll go ahead with the flash step with the ultimate. Do not too much, but get some dazed ups. Make sure he sits down.
He's
for now. Ooh, still dancing around. Now Lune at 50% HP. We'll go ahead and actually try to get the air launch going. We'll sit on top of that wall, and with no HP to speak of, Spice and Juice secure the first round win.
That disrespect. That is some hardcore. I mean, I understand the abbreviation for his class is BM, but come on, Zane. That's a bit excessive, don't you think? Timing it, that's a 30-second daze on each one of those slashes, and he just said, yeah, okay, now, and another one, and another one.
Another one. Exactly. And hey, maybe he's just playing it safe. He's playing it smart. He's waiting for his cooldowns to come back up, so he's stalling for time. You know, you never know. But of course, still, overall, I gotta say, that combo into just Zay setting up, or Luki Fangirl setting up Glacier there, was definitely a sight to behold, to say the least.
Craigasm for sure. He timed that perfectly. We mentioned how terrible a Force Master's damaging ult is, but if you manage to keep the person airborne long enough, which Blade Master is certainly capable of doing, and at the wall as well, so even if they rolled, they would have been caught by at least one of those ticks. Oof, that's spicy. Spicy plays.
And with such a beautiful first round in the series, we'll see which team can come out on top. Of course, Elusive Fan Club, not out of it just yet. They can still make it out. It's still the winners bracket too, but if they win this next round, they will be tied up 1-1. Whereas, of course, Spice and Juice, if they secure the next win, they will go ahead and face off against Bet Inventors in the second round of the winners bracket. So it's going to be an interesting one either way. Of course, seeing as Electra just got deleted.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Definitely. It really did happen so quickly. I'm not convinced I quite know what happened, but it was epic.
Well, see if they can have a better time in the second round as Electra. Hopefully not going to be brought out of the game as fast as possible this time around. Of course, now Zukania still forced to use his Tab Escape already. Does have the Lotus of Escape available. Linne had a better time last round because of this matchup, but does not have that Tab Escape, and already is going to get punished. 66% HP. But Zukania is going to be thrown up into the air himself. Will be able to get back up with a slow get up. As said, he still has that Lotus up and available, but we'll see whether or not that Soul Fighter can still make something happen, as he does have that Tab Escape back up, and now looking to return fire. We even see Electra going with the tag in. Actually, the Destroyer is going to be tagged out and coming in for Elusive Fan Club. Out of focus, though. He's going to be able to spin for just a bit. Going to look for timing potentially, but gets knocked down by the mine and forced to use his Typhoon.
Just in time. Just enough focus to use his Typhoon there, but now immediately caught back out. And abusing the Paralyzed from the high wire, getting some good damage onto him. But now, Zukania trying to find a good opening. But Ember Storm and Stone Shield are a combo you can't really deal with. Now Zukania trying to run away, but of course the flower from Electra managing to keep him out of stealth just long enough for that perfect knee tech chase from the Destroyer. Very, very well timed. God, Zukania, you can't keep getting deflected, man. That's just not fun at all. The Soul Fighter not actually able to do too much in that tag in. Kind of a missed opportunity, but Zukania will be tagged out in just about now.
And of course, this time around with this Jianhua being on the other side, he cannot really make anything happen as he actually gets grappled up and uses that Typhoon after the gust. So no defensive option here for the Destroyer. Means that Linne does have to come back in. Soul Fighter versus Force Master right now, and we'll see actually Glacier trying to get the better of his opponent. Will not manage to connect, and very nice timing there by Linne. Gets to catch Glacier, but doesn't quite go back in, and as a result, we'll just go ahead and disengage for now.
Yeah, Soul Fighter not able to do too much against the Force Master matchup. There you see the self-defense chi just immediately popped unable to do too much, but he actually retaliates the Phantom grab. Very, very well timed. Electra coming in again with that timely assist. Linne forced to use the second wind, now in a very, very bad situation. You can just come in with the Searing Slash, huge damage, but the Destroyer iron plating is there just in time. But Linne, it's just such an unlucky position. Even if you catch Glacier, he's gonna have his backstep available, and you definitely do not want to be frozen at the wall, mate. Ooh, manages to just avoid that unlucky situation. But Glacier, of course, known for his style.
Zukania with the deletion service himself once again coming in, securing the kill and making it a 3 versus 2 for his team once more. We'll see Spice and Juice. Actually, Glacier forced to tag out a little bit earlier than he wanted, potentially, but Electra is in versus Lucky Fangirl. It's a 3v2, unfortunately. A lot of ultimates available here, and we will see actually Lucky Fangirl almost get the kill onto the familiar there with it, but not really outside of that too much done. And we will see the assist coming from the Destroyer, able to secure quite a lot of damage onto Lucky Fangirl himself with Electra, but it's still not looking too hot here for Elusive Fan Club.
Absolutely not. The flash step into 5-point strike. Very, very difficult to avoid. The familiar instantly died, and Electra soon to follow. Now, the Destroyer in a 1 versus 3 situation. Very, very grim. Grabs him out of his block, trying to get some good damage onto him now. Good ground game, gets quite a bit of damage. Actually doesn't avoid the second wind, and now able to escape. With no escapes available on the Destroyer now, he is in a very, very, very terrible position. So Kania might just want to ult him in the open, maybe just throw a couple bombs on him. The ult goes wide as well, looking quite grim for him now, and he hits into the ground counter of the Assassin, gets a free stun. There's the ultimate. Ooh, that first hit, that's what we were talking about. If even a second one had hit, this would already be over. He's clinging to dear life, just barely holding on.
And we'll see actually bombs away as Zukania is going to look to finish the job here. 70% HP left now, gets thrown up into the air. This is it. This is going to be Spice and Juice. Oh, never mind. Spoke too early. He actually does not secure the job, and in shame is going to just go ahead and tag out as Glacier is going to try to do it in style himself. But Spice and Juice now at this point just overconfident, obviously, but we'll see whether or not it's going to bite him in or return to bite them in the end, as so far Glacier is going to be dropping quite low himself, does have the crossarm available, healing back up quite a bit, and now with a beautiful follow-up actually by Desjian. Wow, he's still somehow in it, Barney.
How is he doing this? Okay, well, I have to... It's Zukania's fault. He could have disrespected him with Thunderstruck, but he disrespected a bit too hard. He will finally catch him out with the Lightning Rod and launch him into the air. That lasted way longer than that needed to. Imagine if he had come back from that. Imagine if that had happened. How angry do you think his team would have been at Zukania? I would have been.
I think they would have won a mental battle at that point too. Like at that point, if I'm Spice and Juice, if I lose that one, I just don't even know anymore. But with that victory, it will secure Spice and Juice's position in the second round of the winner bracket. Of course, on the other side, Elusive Fan Club is not down and out just yet. It is a double elimination format, and they will be knocked down to face off against Fun Game, I believe. So we'll see how that's going to turn out. But in the meantime, next up, it will be Deletion Servers versus Buy. So this should be another spicy one, Barney.
It should indeed. The rather optimal team composition. Actually, both teams have a very optimal team composition. With the Assassin and Blade Dancer on the side of Deletion Service, you definitely have the blue buff at play from the Assassin, as we've seen, is just enough to delete people so quickly. I'm not even sure they could react in time, no matter what. And the Blade Dancer with that Maelstrom, with those good assists, being able to go both offensive and defensive, very, very strong. The Destroyer and the Gunslinger on Team Buy, colorized. I can vouch for him. He's an English homie, and he certainly is very, very good. I remember when people were doubting him at the regionals last year when he had to fill in for Luki on the team Bad Intentions, and he just showed everybody why he deserved to be there. Of course, the common thing between these two teams, the Warlock, we've talked at length.
The big one.
We don't need to mention it too much more. Okay, maybe a little bit. It's good. Okay, time distortion, very good. The aerial damage, very, very good. Resetting your teammates as important cooldowns. It's just something that's good to have. And against a team that didn't have a Warlock, definitely shows. But we will be going into the first match here.
And we'll see. Actually, Ace 5 started things out here for Bai against Nerdeal. Sin versus Gunslinger. So far, he does not actually manage to connect with the Bull Rush. Get his opponent out of stealth. Will be stunned up himself instead. So we'll manage to go ahead and use that Skystone to potentially close the gap between himself and his opponent and make something happen, as so far it's really somewhat of a stalemate. But as I say that, Nerdeal going back in is going to be able to do quite a bit of damage, forces out that Tombstone out of his opponent, and all of a sudden Ace 5 might be forced to tag out somewhat early here.
Oh, he actually catches him with the Bulldoze. That was a very good snipe there on the side of Ace 5. Now the Warlock time distortion coming out earlier than the side of Deletion, so that's going to be quite important. The Daze defense break actually comes out. Nerdeal forced to use his flower, but the return time distortion has essentially been reset, except Ace 5 does not have his Tombstone or his Skystone available. Definitely going to need to keep an eye out for that. The Bulldoze again coming out, but luckily the Maelstrom from the side of Brother Bill saving Nerdeal from the immense crossfire damage. That could have easily been 50% health from Nerdeal there. Lotus Kick coming out. Both of them forced to use their second wins, and now tried to maybe go for that cheeky wallbang, but not quite in range.
And of course, the Lotus of Escape is still available for Nerdeal, so I can't see him tagging out. He's probably going to wait it out, but as I say that, actually going to take a little bit of damage. 9 seconds left there. We will see an assist coming through the Warlock, but this shouldn't really do too much. Ace 5 himself will be tagged out in about 1 second, so just about now, with the Warlock coming into play here for Bai. Whereas on the other side, Bill is going to be the one to play for Deletion service, trying to do something here. Does have that Guardian Tempest timeout, even forced to use that Maelstrom, and now disengaging as Sanctum was popped by Mew.
Yeah, definitely not an ideal situation for Brother Bill against the Warlock. So much of what Warlock has is able to go through the deflected spin. He might be using the defense spin as a result of this, but he gets leeched and launched into the air immediately. The Untitled combo perfectly executed by Mew. Brother Bill, 50% of his life just gone in a flash. Now trying to get the return damage. Lightning Rod does connect, but not too much able to get out of it. Now the Guardian Tempest as well, healing him up a little bit. Well, now Mew launched into the air, but the very timely assist from Ace 5 actually saves him, and Brother Bill is forced to immediately tag out into this Warlock mirror match. However, Mew is at a distinct disadvantage. There's the Untitled Leech combo onto them as well, but Colorized comes in with that very timely assist. Time distortion coming down from Mew very early. Not something you want to do, but he's actually just chunking the Thrall down. But could have recalled that a bit sooner, I think, mate. And now the time distortion as well. This is looking fairly even. The health lead does go to Team Bai, but Deletion service at the moment in this particular matchup does seem to be doing quite a bit better. There's the Daze, the Tech Chase as well. The Gunslinger trying to do a little bit, but not able to do too much. And now, tag-ins galore. Colorized launch into the air.
No.
Insane damage. Can't save yourself when you're in the air, unfortunately. Now, all of a sudden, the tables have turned.
He does manage to land that air launch. Now pops the Emberstorm, but out of it for now. I just go back in. Persistence is actually going to be used here by Colorized offensively, trying to make something happen. As we'll see AJ, of course, not have his escape out for now. We'll proc that Stone Shield. We'll have that position swap if need be, but with the fall soon enough timing out, he might just opt in to tag out himself. Of course, right now, still both of them just stalling seemingly.
At opposite ends of the arena, definitely something that Colorized kind of needs to do right now. He does have the defensive spin. And the guard break knee actually instantly gets him into the...
Oh no, why?
Two people! Oh no! How to instantly turn a match featuring Colorized and Wallbang. Goodness me, that Warlock just instantly popped. And Nerdeal also took a huge amount of damage from that. Colorized healing himself up with the Emberstomp Stone Shield. The man single-handedly turned the match around again!
Oh my word. Team Bai saying just dead to Deletion service at this point, as we'll see Nerdiel be launched up into the air himself as he will get absolutely disintegrated. Ace 5 just showing off how devastating the aerial damage can really be out of the Gunslinger, and at this point, Brother against the world with a 1v3 is gonna dance around, but the question is for how long, as Ace 5 is gonna be able to still run away, stay safe, go for extra damage, and he will be launched up in the air. But once again, I just can't see how Brother can turn this one around, especially as he does not have that tab escape anymore. He's just gonna try and play aggressive, try to do something with the draw. He will not be able to do anything, and in return, he's gonna go for the blade or the ulti. But still, it's just a range damage. It's just a poor little Lin running on the other side of the arena.
Yes, in the great words of empathy, as he once said, he is just a Lin. But now he's certainly holding on for dear life, and he's trying to do as much as he can. But against Gunslinger, who has just so much mobility, it's going to be very hard. Brother Bill does manage to keep up pace, however. He'll have his lightning draw fairly soon, and maybe a Guardian Tempest as well. He can definitely heal up quite a bit. But it won't matter. The crossfire out in the open, the disrespect. He's just said, I'm going to shoot you. You will die. Yes, it worked.
It worked. I can't really blame him for that one, even though it is somewhat concerning to see some of these teams sometimes seemingly struggling a bit to secure finish the job. But
what happened with Tsukani, it wasn't exactly struggling per se. It was just
fair enough.
Sheer disrespect. But certainly I do understand what you mean. Leaving somebody alive for long enough, especially on potent classes like Blade Dancer or Warlock or Destroyer, they have the means to 1v3. It's very hard, granted, but it's possible. And you never really want to leave anything to chance when it comes to these things.
Most definitely not, but that will, of course, mean that Bai, or rather Team Bai, has a 1-0 advantage over their opponents in Deletion service. And here's the problem. Of course, coming into the next round, they're gonna be wanting to avoid the wall bank, but that was just so well, just amazing execution on Colors' end to get into a position where he actually managed to land it and secure said kill. So it's really a tough ask of them, but of course, as per usual against these Destroyer comps, that is definitely the biggest thing you want to avoid.
Absolutely. So props to Color Ice for spotting the ideal situation and actually capitalizing on it. It's very rare that actually happens. Usually people sit on their assists like their opponents actually ended up doing, because at the end they had 3 unused assists between the 2 dead players. So they definitely want to try and avoid that this time around. Unable to get the optimal opener for the Gunslinger this time around. Nerdiel managing to avoid that very well, and now he's still managing to take a bit of damage with the Chi Smoke, avoiding a little bit of damage. The Tombstone comes out as well. If Nerdiel doesn't manage to stealth, he's going to take a huge amount of damage, but he does manage to do it just in the nick of time. Alpha Call was used previously, so Ace 5 does still have access to his actual second wind. Trying to get some damage here. Does roll the Imprisoned Days from Mew. Now, a bit of a stare down at opposite ends of the arena. Skystone has just come up as well. He's probably going to look to place it. Or he could just run to the other side of the arena and then place it. Also fine. Just buying himself some time. As you do. No rush.
As Gunslingers are usually known to do, even forcing out the tab escape. And in terms of the resources, just such a landslide of an advantage right now for Team Bai, as they still have their respective Time Warp. Ace 5 not really in need of any help so far, but as I say that, now that he finally did get stunned up, he might look for an opening with the tab escape. Still losing quite a little bit of HP, down to 52%, so maybe just using up too much of that particular resource. Maybe we should have opted in to play a little bit more aggressive, but so far, position swap is going to connect. He does go ahead and use the tab escape off of the Alpha Call, and now dropping really low. Actually, down to 5%. Someone needs to save this man, as he's actually going to just tag out instead, but that was
quite something.
Not the best.
It's hurting me physically. It really is. But Ace 5, He definitely needs to stay alive. He has 3 assists on him. He absolutely can demolish somebody in that time. He just needs to find a proper opening to do so. But
speaking of proper openings, maybe Warlock Age is going to go up. No, he's still going to manage to stay alive. Ace 5, even with that low HP, is going to come in with the assist. But, ooh, man, still such a dangerous position to be in, as both of the Warlocks are going to be able to stare each other down. Both of those time warps, and now Warlock AJ still potentially in a lot of trouble, as he will be imprisoned. Let's just go ahead and back out, crawl back in play for Mew. But overall, Deletion service could still make something work here. But again, Caster Curse, as we'll see, Warlock AJ almost getting popped up, and in the meantime, Mew is going to be in big trouble too.
Yeah, taking return damage on that one. Definitely, they definitely are trying to answer as best they can. Now Ace 5 back in. If Mew manages to come in with a time distortion, he can actually save Ace 5. But he's doomed here unless they mess up and he manages to get out with a sliver of health. Finally, Colorized comes in against the favorable match against Blade Dancer. Brother Bill, realizing this, says, nah, I'm out, mate. And Nerdell comes back in. However, the swap was used fruitlessly into Typhoon, so now Colorized in quite a good position. Nerdell finally managing to get the stealth off of the stray judgment swing from Colorized. Trying to buy himself a little bit of time. He is in a good position. He does have persistence available, but Lotus Kick out of nowhere, between the spins perhaps, catches him out. No webbing, actually, trying to go for the sick ground game, but the swap not able to land correctly. There's the guard break knee, forcing out a time escape immediately from Nerdell. And equally a persistence from the side of Colorized. Should be noted, Nerdell's ultimate is up. This could actually be a very, very big point to hit home on, should he actually get to use it. The Maelstrom being used onto Brother Bill. Lightning, rather by Brother Bill. Colorized launch into the air now. Trying to get some good damage onto Colorized, maybe, but not able to do that. Nerdell actually taking quite a bit of damage from Ace 5 with that crossfire. Those are the assists that he certainly needed to use earlier in the round. Now he's out, and if he gets tagged back in, he's going to be a very sad boy.
And at this point, it's still anyone's guess as to who's going to come out on top. Of course, Deletion service overall should have an advantage because of their tag-ins or tag-outs available assists, as well as, of course, Brother Bill still alive and healthy at 100%. Colorized is going to get tagged out soon enough with 7 seconds. Actually opts in to use that Typhoon just to stay safe, and as a result, Nerdell might be trying to find something here. Persistence even popped early, making sure Warlock Mew is going to be able to stay safe. And now with Brother Bill finally in the fray, he's going to be looking to do something here onto his opponent. But overall, it's still going to be tough, especially since Ace does not have any tag outs as well as assists. They need to wait it out.
They absolutely do. If they manage to wait out for 3 minutes, 2 minutes from now, they will have some more assists. Ace 5 might be able to come in and do quite a bit of damage. The time distortion now protecting Mew, and Brother Bill trying to avoid as much damage as he possibly can. He does seem to have the defensive spin activated, or he would have been taking quite a bit more damage. He's been mostly absent this round, I feel. He really needs to try and do something. Finally, he gets an opener with the Soaring Falcon. Not able to capitalize on it too much, and now Colorized comes back in. Does Bill want to fight this unfavorable matchup? A single drag is all it takes, or maybe a blitz? Launching him into the air. This could be devastating for him if Colorized actually manages to get the tech chase, which he does. The Hongmoon ultimate available for Brother Bill as he tags out into AJ.
We should see time distortion, of course, coming back off soon enough here. A lot of ultimates lined up and available. The question is, are they going to go ahead and opt to use any of these? We've seen how devastating the Blade Dancer ultimate in that Giga Blade can really be, so Brother Bill definitely potentially able to secure a kill with the help of it. But now Typhoon is going to enable Colorized to potentially find an opening here, so we'll continue to well on the fall, dance around, still able to spin. But now, with time distortion being popped, we'll see him just go ahead, disengage, try to play it safe, and wait it out.
Oh, but the guard break knee again, actually used just before the initial take of Sanctum. So AJ actually has to roll out of that, where he wanted to stay in for that untargetability. However, he doesn't have a knee for Nerdell should he choose to do that. He pops the persistence defensively, preemptively even, trying to avoid as much as he can. Maybe get Nerdell out of stealth as well. Immediately actually rams Nerdell, and he doesn't actually have his flower up. or at least the correct flower. This is actually devastating for Deletion service. If Nerdil gets caught out again, he might actually die right then and there. This could be it. Tries to go for the damage, but is unsuccessful. Now Ace 5 in. This is definitely bad for Nerdil. If he gets caught by a single aerial, he is most definitely going to die.
The problem is here, Ace 5, is the fact that he is really low in terms of that HP pool, but now coming in with the assist, could have managed to heal and back up just a little bit, but the question is whether or not it is going to be enough, whereas the assist now being rewarded from the 3-minute mark over on both sides. We'll see plenty of them come into play here as we only have 2 minutes and 37 seconds left of the timer. So Ace 5 still looking for something. His opponent forces out the Tabscape, and as said previously, he does not have that flower available, and by this point, I can't see how Team Bai are not aware of that, as they should secure a crowd control and a kill here onto his opponent, who still has tag out. So Nerdil, if he's in big trouble, should be able to potentially get out, but Alpha Call now popped by Ace 5. He just opts in to nope out of it. Brother Bill coming in instead for Deletion service.
Oh, this is actually a very, very bad spot for Ace 5 here because he doesn't have any escape stuff and he can't tag out. This might actually be it, but thankfully Colorized is on point with that iron plating. Ace 5 just needed a single hit. And I also want to point out how much health he has healed over the course of this match. He was at basically nothing a few minutes earlier, but now he's actually come back into it, trying to do huge damage, but barely manages to avoid the full brunt of the Giga Blade, getting grazed by it. 20% now, out in 10 seconds. Can he buy himself some time? What am I saying? Of course he can. He's a gunslinger. What am I talking about? He should be A-okay in just about 5 seconds time, healing himself up, guaranteeing his safety as well with that alpha pull, and in comes Mew. Ooh, indeed.
The timing though, coming out of Brother Bill, but unfortunately for him, we did see Colorize save his teammate, still having 1 assist available, so very good resource management on both of these teams so far for the most part. We'll see Brother Bill now launch his opponent up Petit Deer, gets launched up himself, so big trouble potentially coming in here for Deletion service, as we'll see Mew come into play, actually securing the kill onto Nerdil. Unfortunate for Deletion service, 53 seconds left of this particular round. We have to see Team Bai just look to secure this one, play it safe, whereas Deletion service need to make something happen. In terms of damage overall, should be somewhat equal, I would presume, just because of the fact that Ace managed to heal up so much, but at the same time he dealt so much damage himself. Now Brother Bill still in it, will time out of the arena shortly enough. Mew still alive and healthy. He's gonna actually maybe secure something here. No, Brother Bill gets out in the nick of time, but with 22 seconds left, things are just looking disastrous for Deletion service.
Ooh, you can sense the desperation as the timer counts down. Ace 5 actually proving to be maybe that last interaction between him and Brother Bill could have been the deciding factor. We don't know how close it is, but they are down a member. We'll have to see how it goes. They get just a little bit of damage onto each other, and time comes down. And roll of the drums, please. We don't have drums. I'm just for dramatic effect, and we'll see who it is.
It is actually
Bai.
Not by that much, but still was closer of a series than potentially expected. Again, considering the fact that Nerdil did get caught off there, did die out, and was a 2v3. Valiant effort by Deletion service, but it is going to be Team Bai advancing into the 3rd round so far, and just delivering in terms of performance overall and expectations, I'd say.
Definitely. I'm very pleased to see that they kind of stepped up a little bit. Team Bai, that is. They managed to find their stride, and especially utilizing that incredible power of the gunslinger to their fullest advantage. Especially, I want to say how well they played around it, keeping Ace 5 alive. Maybe 3 times he should have died over, but somehow Colorized and Mew were just there in time to just guarantee that Ace 5 stayed alive long enough to deal that insane damage with the Tombstone and Unload combination, with that Crossfire, especially I just random crossfires, you know, just using them. Who cares? If
literally caught in it,
50% of your health is just gone, and if you miss, well, it was probably a tag assist anyway, so you haven't actually anything.
Unfortunate here for Deletion service, which will be knocked down to the losers bracket. Of course, in the meantime, we will be moving on to a 5-minute break, but don't go anywhere. There will be more matches coming right up, and even the Scarlet Bird costume giveaway soon enough. So stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Tournament format, prize.
Sure.
And welcome back to the fifth Rumble in the Realm for the EU side of things in 3 versus 3. My name is Brunch, joined of course by Barney, and so far we had some spicy matchups to say the least, of course, Barney.
Absolutely. It was wonderful. Gunslingers breaking onto the scene, showing
They're pretty
everything.
good.
Yeah. So kind of a mixed bag so far. Haven't seen too many teams show their fullest, I believe. There's definitely room to sort of grow and improve. Some teams show more immediate improvements, such as Team Buy as well, utilizing their tag-ins much more efficiently. Of course, Colorized with that just stunning wallbang that turned the whole match around in their favor. Definitely the MVP of the previous match. But before we get on to too much of that, why don't we remind our viewers of the format and prizes?
Of course. Remember, it is a double elimination format, so even with the likes of Deletion service getting knocked out into the losers bracket, they're not out of the tournament just yet, and because of it, we'll see Team Buy advance. It is, again, double elimination format, and in terms of the pricing itself, what all these players are fighting for, first place secures themselves $1,500 in cash prize, as well as the choice of different cosmetic outfits between School Days, Teacher's Pet, and Noblesse. Second prize, also not too bad at all, with $1,200 themselves. Third, $900, as well as the costumes again, of course. And fourth, finally, $300 in Hongbun coins and the respective costumes.
Yes. So top 3, yeah, that's where you probably want to be, unless you planned on spending it on trophy keys anyway. Then I guess that's a win as well.
And of course, make sure to go through the link listed down below. There are giveaways going on for anyone watching right now, of course, for the Scarlet Bird costume, which I always mess up the name of for some mysterious reason. It is a pop-up. Head over to the link and enter to win. Winners will be selected Wednesday, so you will have to make sure to keep your eyes out for the email, see whether or not you have won. But of course, coming up next in terms of the matches themselves, it will be actually Bet Inventors versus Team Unlucky. And Bet Inventors, everyone should be familiar with this team, of course, now under a different name. They consist of Arias, Piep, and Zapish, 3 exceptional players in the EU scene, versus Unlucky, which is of course a newer team with veteran players in the likes of Luki, Cymex, and Antrax.
Yes, although I feel, especially with the advent of Battle Brawl, the Unlucky meme has been kind of done to death, but it's their team name, so they clearly they don't care that much. They want to keep it going for as long as it kicks. Still, we definitely know about these players. Luki especially has had some great showings in the past as well. As mentioned before, he has had a slight hiatus in which Zay took over his mantle for a brief period. We don't know. He might come back on his Destroyer, actually. Luki, that is. He did actually play it for a little while, and he saw moderate success with it, so it's anyone's guess if he chooses to play that. Many people are of the mindset that a Destroyer in a 3 versus 3 format is actually a bit more useful than the Blade Master because of their wonderful party save with that iron plating from the Stone Shield. However, Blade Master probably does have a bit more instantaneous burst. If a Destroyer wants that much, they probably have to opt for Fury, and that means sacrificing the incredible second escape ability, Persistence. You don't want to do that generally, so unless you're a madman and you want to get rid of Sprawl instantly, which we have seen as well.
So it can definitely happen, and of course, even Luki going on to Destroyer can most definitely happen, because in the 1v1 Rumble in the Realm, we've seen him actually go for it and play it. So it's still a possibility, of course. We have seen him do his best or show his best on that Blade Master, generally speaking, but maybe now with a little bit more practice, a little bit more time, he will opt in to use it in this particular matchup. Of course, as said, also Cymex could opt in for both the Gunslinger or the Summoner, not quite sure which is going to go for. And finally, Anthrax on that Force Master has been exceptional as of late, at the very least, when it comes to that particular class.
Absolutely. I'm expecting great things in this match. Certainly, I since they know each other, since these players have had experience with one another, and especially, I feel like Luki might have... He is both advantaged and disadvantaged in the sense that because of his hiatus, his skill may have fallen. We don't know. It's too early to tell. So he might be a little bit out of practice. They might abuse that fact to their ability to, as best they can. However, he's also had ample time to research the latest matches of Bed Inventors, especially since they came on and had a great showing as Bulk FC in the Battle Brawl tournament very recently. So we'll have to wait and see how that happens. He might have some incredible plan to win and just completely decimate his foes, or he'll lose. It could go either way, really.
It's definitely gonna go one way or the other, but it seems like players did lock in their choices in terms of the classes. So it's for Team Loki, it is going to be Loki on the Blade Master, but Cymex on the Gunslinger, even though, don't get confused by his name, Buff Sum is not it's just of course a statement rather than representative of the actual class he's playing. It is going to be the Gunslinger, and this is one of those comps that, while of course I could see the potential, in theory, not quite sure what it aims to really do necessarily outside of what those respective classes do, which is Blade Master, Gunslinger, and Force Master. In terms of the overall synergy and how they would play off each other, what's your take on it, Barney?
Well, they definitely seem to have gone for a more 1-versus-1 oriented team, if you will. So, of course, in 3-versus-3, you have the tag outs, you have assists. When those are gone, you've essentially got a minute 30 once you've tagged in to do a 1-versus-1. A glorified 1-versus-1, of course, but nevertheless. And these classes are quite good at holding their own in 1-versus-1, particularly the Force Master, I feel, and the Gunslinger as well. Blade Master, perhaps not so much in recent times, but Luki does know how to abuse everything that Blade Master has. We've already seen Zay pull the trick off with Glacier with the Hongmoon ultimate from Force Masters, delaying the aerial attacks as long as possible in order to allow the ultimate to actually, well, activate and completely blow the person up. We might see that happen. Blade Master as well, as an offensive tag-in, is quite effective. The Soaring Falcon, if you know the other person has no escapes ready, and you know that they have no iframes available, then that's just free. You come in, you use Soaring Falcon, you pull them to you, stun them for 3 seconds, and it's unblockable. So it's a free thing that you can just throw out. Well, I say you can just throw out under the correct circumstances.
Of course.
But once those circumstances have been met, it's a devastating tool. Coupled with Searing Slash, now that person's dead without an assist.
And we'll see whether or not they can actually pull it off. We've seen even some interesting setup plays with the Assassin Blade Master combo, with Zucania there, of course, with the High Wire, I believe, making sure they capitalize off of that particular window of opportunity. But this time around, not having that respective class. Instead, he will just have an insane amount of damage in the form of the Gunslinger. So potentially we could see some aerial setups for Cymex in terms of just making sure he has all the support he needs to land those kills and secure them as a result. And on the other side, in terms of Bet Inventors, as you said, they had their opponents had a lot of time to watch them play, especially in the Battle Brawl and such. They haven't really changed anything, be their composition, their players. It's just really their name that they changed so far. And I would expect them to play as they always do, just exceptionally well. It's going to be still extremely difficult for the side of Unlucky to secure a win.
Definitely. Since they've also had time to bond as a team, to get to know each other's play style, play around their own weaknesses, play around each other's weaknesses, and generally get to a point where they're comfortable. They're comfortable being with each other. That, I think, is also something to keep in mind, and that's something that they definitely are holding over Unlucky as a team right now.
And it's just the sheer experience, because again, Zappish and Areas have been playing together in the team since last year. They definitely have there's definitely a big history there, but it seems like both of the teams are ready to go. So we will be moving on to our first round between Bed Inventors and Team Unlucky. It's actually going to be Buff Sum in the opener here as the Gunslinger, so known as Cymex, right now up against Areas. These players just going at each other so far. Skystone has popped as well as Tombstone here for Cymex, so it's taking quite a bit of damage. So far, Areas quite a controlling position, but as I say that, has managed to actually get the air launch going, even with the Time Warrior. Oh, Buff Sum in a lot of danger here. He's going to continuously get chunked out down to 34% HP. He's going to go ahead and just tag out.
An atrocious start for the side of Unlucky, but Areas now taking what? Excuse me? What was that damage? Where did that come from? Oh, right, Gunslinger, of course, but Lucky taking much the same damage as well. Zappish coming in, getting stunned into the Searing Slash as well. Lucky now trying to play as best he can, chunking him down, playing defensively, using those strafes, gets a good tech chase, actually avoids the second wind. Now Zappish again forced to tag out immediately. Lots and lots of fast but very devastating exchanges so far.
And that's Lucky for you, especially when it comes to the Blade Master. All of a sudden now, Bed Inventors in big trouble. Both Ares and Zappish really low in terms of their HP resources, but of course, Pieb, we've seen how insane he can really be on that Blade Dancer, already forcing out the Tab Escape, and even timing it perfectly there onto Antrax. He's able to punish and tag out, but overall, still having his defensives in the side of the Tab Escape means that he's going to actually go ahead and go in aggressive. Goes in for the Phantom Grip too, and a lot of damage coming in onto the Force Master. In fact, Zappish almost obliterating him there. Frost Armor is going to keep him safe, but as said, Pieb is going to be just as good in terms of turning things around as Lucky was right there.
Yeah, but he's at full health and Lucky not so much. In fact, no member of Unlucky is currently faring particularly well. Bed Inventors in a huge advantage. Plenty of assists available. Cymex using that Alpha Core, trying to buy himself as much time as he can. Lucky coming in, but everything just missing. That's so unfortunate. You thought I was going to say it, didn't you? Got you there. Now in an unfortunate position. Pieb actually launched into the air, guard broken from his brown counter. But Cymex as well getting some turn damage. Antrax trying to buy his team some time. Cymex is trying to stay in. I believe his tag out is actually still on cooldown, so he is forced to buy himself as much time as he can. Gets the raid out of nowhere, out of neutral. That's just gonna feel terrible. At last, he is able to tag out Antrax with the huge heal from Frost Armor. That's a 3-minute cooldown. He's not gonna have that for quite some time. Frost Tornado not finding its guard break. Zappish just being so patient, but Frost Sheath just in time to protect from Zappish's Flying Slam. Now maybe getting an opening onto him. Zappish second wind coming out. Comet Strike not quite in time there, but manages to actually avoid the Frostburst and attack Antrax in midair. Quite a bit of an interesting exchange coming out here. The Flurry coming out as well. Antrax could be in a bit of trouble here. Zappish opts not to continue that combo for fear of the backstep.
He's just gonna play it safe for now. Might be interesting to see whether or not he's gonna wait it out or he's gonna tag out. And so far, still strafing around, actually trying still to find an opening. Gets the air launch into the Rising Dragon. So Antrax still potentially in somewhat of a troubling position, but Banner Grip is not gonna secure anything. He tries to moving towards the wall, but Zappish nopes out of it instantly. Goes in for the Ankle Biter. He manages to connect, but so far he's going to be able to tag out, and now Areas having it to play here, actually still having that buff up. It's going to force his opponent out for now. The Hungman block being popped by Luki, who's going to be able to retaliate for now. But the question is, how much damage is he really going to be able to do, considering the fact that Ares should still have quite a lot available, but actually going in with the ultimate, it's going to force out that time warp, and in return, look to get punished. But no more tab escape for Luki. Means that if he gets caught off one more time, that could very well be it. But coming in with the damage, it's going to be Luki, dropping extremely low, 25% HP left on his end, but he will stay alive for now.
Yeah, this is just looking very, very grim for Unlucky right now. They just know, Bettermentors just know how to buy themselves as much time as they possibly can. Zappish, although he doesn't have a tag out anymore, which is pretty risky. He's known for being a risky dude, so he might actually find a good opening here. A single flying slam might actually end Cymex's life, with only Lucky able to assist him now. But actually, Zappish is the one that gets guard broken and instantly launched into the air. Good damage with the crossfire, forcing Ares to come in and try and do something, but he didn't really get much of anything, unfortunately for him.
But look at the resources here for Team Unlucky. Only Luki with the assists available. No tag outs, no assists for Antrax, as well as buff sum or Cymex available here for them. Means that it's going to continuously do what gunslingers do best, which is run around the arena with those wires still available in terms of his resource tool. For now, Zappish, as you said, still looking for an opening. Doesn't opt in for the Flying Slam. Any of the Sword Skystone still available, of course, too. As you will see, Zappish still trying to get an opening. Will not be successful. 25 seconds left for him, though he gets taken out of the arena for now at the very least. But actually opts in to go with the ultimate and secures the kill! He caught him off guard, and he secured the kill for it too. Antrax now looking to deal some amount of damage, but not too successful. 7 seconds left, and with that, it's just going to be Zappish getting timed out. This engages, plays it safe, never mind, goes back in, stays up, but Kep will manage to stay safe for now with the help of the Guardian Tempest. Frost Armor, of course, will heal Antrax back up, but that is not going to be available for him for a long time. And as a result, Team Unlucky looking very badly here, as we'll see areas come in. Not really able to do much, but it doesn't really mean anything because Piep still able to do plenty himself. Just poking away at Antrax, going in for the draw, actually doing a lot of damage with it too. 50% left here for the Force Master, goes in for the Phantom Grip, and now Tab Escape pop, and Unlucky, it's just gonna take him a Herculean task to secure anything, but the, he gets it!
Yep. Oh, how can you keep doing this in actual
God.
Dude, what? How? I can't. These ultimates are just on point today, especially from Bed Inventors. Or maybe it should be said for the other side that maybe you should actually do something. Look, you're getting quite a bit of damage back onto areas in retaliation for the death of his teammates, but actually taking a huge chunk himself now in a very, very bad position. Does manage to take out areas with those insane crits, but Zappish is on the hunt. Manages to get that down. Oof. Oh man, that's little bit sweatier now than I was prior to this match. Bit intense, just a tad. the ultimate from Kung Fu Master, actually something we hadn't mentioned previously, and most assuredly should have mentioned that. Because of its unique mechanic of acting like Flurry, tracking your opponent wherever they go, and also having the iframe associated with an ultimate technique, just the sheer damage and the number of hits that it does. If you have to iframe that, there's nothing you can do. You can't outrun it ever. It won't just stop. It'll keep chasing you until you're dead. Oh man, yikes!
And the Giga Blades again. I mean, Piep at this point this is pretty much his signature move in a sense, almost, if you will. I mean, it's probably a bit too early to call it that, but this man can do no wrong apparently with it. So we'll see whether or not they can secure another win here, because while they're up 1-0. It is a best of 3, and it is still the winner's bracket. So even if Unlucky does go down here, they're not going to be down and out just yet. They're going to have to face off against Deletion Service, I believe, in the losers bracket if they will lose here, but it's not going to be quite over just yet. Of course, Luki getting a kill himself at the very least, so making it difficult for, or more difficult for bet inventors, I guess, overall. And if there's been one player that's been consistently playing out of his mind for bet inventors, I'd say, throughout recent past history, it's been Piep. I haven't seen him really underperform too much in recent history at all. I can't even recall one such sort of position happening, but seems like we are good to go, Barney.
Indeed, we are looking for the good opener. Antrax coming in already, having to save Cymex from Ares' onslaught. The Tombstone coming out as well, but the Time Distortion with the Bastion is there for Ares to save him. The Alpha Core procced as well. Now Cymex out of an escape. If he gets caught again, he's going to be very, very sad. And he's currently being quite sad, it seems, but not able to do too much. Never
Still
mind.
Sad.
Okay, he's very sad. He's miserable right now. Oh my god! Instantly, probably the highest damage player on the side of Unlucky, instantly dead. And Trex coming in against Zapish, and even though Zapish is using the fire build right now, he doesn't care. He'll roll with it. He'll probably even try and kill you with it. But we'll have to wait and see. Antrax actually swapping his Frost Armor from the long cooldown to a shorter one. But at this stage, it's already very, very grim.
It's just, again, such a Herculean task at 2v3, and as early as this timing too, and as we will see, actually Zapish launched Luki up into the air, managing to land Epic stun now, still going on with the flurry. Can he follow it up off of the reflex? So it seems like the answer is yes, as the tab escape was forced by him. Luki down and out in terms of that option, but goes in with the Soaring Falcon, forcing out the second win out of Zapish as well. Pieb now coming into play, will be launched up into the air. Question is, can they secure any other damage? Seems like yes, Antrax able to do quite a bit himself, but with Arias coming in as well, we should see Piep stabilize at the very least for now.
Indeed, Antrax trying his absolute best here, but his damage, it's simply no gunslinger. And now in a very, very rough spot. No escapes on him. Geb has free reign. Luki, did you try to help there? Did you just stand there and block? What happened, mate?
He was just holding his teammate's hand in those last final few moments. Come on, be supportive of him. Exactly, a true team player right there, as he's the only member left for Luki. At this point, as said, there's no light at the end of the tunnel here. I just can't see how Luki can win this 1v3. He's down when it comes to the resources, when it comes to the HP pools. It's just looking miserable. But as said, you never know, as he will be launched up into the air, and we know for now, never mind. Tab escape was used, it doesn't matter. It's out. Bet Inventors securing a swift 2-0 there.
I mean, when it happens like that at the very end, where you know it's already over, but then the final cherry on top, the very, very, very not tasty at all cherry. I don't know where I was going with that.
Sour.
What I was looking for is sour. Yes, thank you. Very sour cherry for the team on Luki, especially Luki himself. You dash in thinking, yes, I'm going to stun him, but Leech doesn't care. Leech is already out on the field. It's going to hit you regardless. It's just, it was a massacre. Poor Cymex. Poor Cymex, man. Not able to utilize the tools of a gunslinger to the fullest, and
he just wants to play. That's all Cymex wants, but he's not gonna get that with this particular round, unfortunately. But they're not gonna go out of the tournament just yet. Remember, it is a double elimination format. So next up, they will be facing off against the Deletion Service at a chance of redemption through the losers bracket. But Bet Inventors, in the meantime, of course, they will be sitting comfortably in the semifinals of the winners bracket, waiting on their opponents, the victor between Team Buy and Bad Intentions. So Bad Intentions, while we haven't seen them play today, of course, they're pretty much the strongest team in the EU for now, still not unable to find somebody to dethrone them just yet. We'll see whether or not Bet Inventors can finally break the curse and beat them this time around. And with a team like Bai stepping up to the task with their respective composition, it's going to be a very interesting one.
It most certainly is. I'm quite looking forward to that. Colorized as well. They do have the addition of the Gunner. So, you know, Ace 5 has definitely shown himself to be quite competent on Gunslinger at the moment, especially coming in very good timing on those assists. The crossfire, as you mentioned, it's basically the only noteworthy skill we should mention because it just does so much damage. However, there are in fact other more important things that Gunslinger has at their disposal. Their guard break, their contextual guard break, very, very powerful. Obviously, Haze Bomb as well, being able to essentially just guarantee a free daze. If they don't iframe it, they're going to be dazed. If they do nothing, they get dazed. If they block, they still get dazed. So utilizing that, especially against perhaps maybe against Tenor, if he gets caught out blocking when he maybe shouldn't be, that can definitely turn things around. A Warlock with no Thrall up and the inability to block is not in a great spot, let's be fair. So if they can capitalize on that, then they can certainly turn things around for them. They certainly would need to watch out because Bad Intentions, yeah, they've got synergy for days. They are well aware of what they are capable of, and they showed it in Battle Brawl just beautifully.
And I'm really curious to see which players are going to come in or step in rather first for both of these teams. Of course, in the past we've seen a lot of Ryuki come out to play first off here for Bad Intentions. On the other side, I would expect more of Ace 5 to be the option for Team Bai. And is there any arguments really to be made here, Barney, for any other option? Of course, we could also see the likes of Tenna for Bad Intentions, but realistically, are we going to see something unexpected?
Well,
is there any chance?
There might be, actually. You never know. That's what we're here for, to provide educated speculation, so to speak. It is possible that with how good Gunslinger's infamous opener at this point, and with how good that is, if you can land it, it just guarantees an insane lead. In 1 versus 1, it basically decides the match then and there. In 3 versus 3, it'll force out an assist almost immediately. However, they're probably ready for it. Ace 5 might not want to try that because if he's unsuccessful in that opener, Tenor could just Tetherblade him and launch him into the air immediately. And I am expecting Tenor to be the lead. It might be prudent of Team Bai to send out their own Warlock instead. And do, attempt to start off with a mirror match. So.
Dun, dun, dun. Actually, as it turns out, they have already fought up against each other. It's actually Team Bai versus Bad Inventors. So Team Bai with an upset, knocking down Bad Intentions to the losers bracket. Spicy indeed, Barney.
Huh. Well, evidently Ace 5 was the MVP, obviously. I mean, come on.
He's goes without saying, Gunslinger.
Goes without saying, yeah, I mean, it was a good match. I very much enjoyed it. I would watch again, 10 out of 10. But it seems that Team Bai have actually progressed, and wow, that was certainly unexpected, it seems. We'll have to wait and see. Bad Intentions isn't out of it just yet, of course. They do have a second chance, but certainly unexpected, for sure. Team Bai, if they manage to beat out Bed Inventors, which is certainly a very, very dominant team, as we have mentioned already, well, they'll still have to probably fight Bad Intentions again, assuming they win the losers bracket. So it can still go either way. This is also, I should mention, a fairly common theme with Bad Intentions, sort of utilizing the double elimination format to their strengths, kind of maybe losing the first one, maybe not getting by fully, kind of losing a round, maybe losing both rounds but taking one round, it allows them the opportunity to learn their opponents and get into their heads, learn the mindset, and finally, when it eventually comes back down to the rematch, as it has done pretty much all previous times, I say pretty much, I mean all of them, then they take that in stride. They win that with a fury. So maybe this will be the time that they are unsuccessful in doing so. But it all comes down, I think, to these three main teams: Team Buy, Team Bed Inventors, and Team Bad Intentions. What a trio.
Very interesting, to say the least. And the big thing here to also note is the fact that today, at the very least, we're gonna set up our top 4 competitors for the grand finals. So it's more about seeding for some of these teams. And so far, both Team Buy and Bed Inventors have secured themselves a respectable position. We'll see which seed they will have at the end of the day. But in the meantime, I definitely say it's still surprising to see Bad Intentions fall. Of course, Team Buy, when looking at the roster and their composition, we've said prior to even to the tournament starting that they should be looking really strong. This is the top meta composition right now, if you will, potentially. And to the fact that we've still seen players like Colorize play to such a high level, we can definitely see why they made it this far already.
Oh, definitely. And utilizing their strengths to the fullest, knowing what each class can and cannot do, the situations that they can and cannot get out of. I think Ace 5 definitely he does that a little bit better than perhaps, I don't know, a certain summoner main recently turned gunner did. Well, utilizing all of their tools, because they're so mobile as a class, with the Skystone able to place it twice, that's 4 seconds of invulnerability that they can't do anything about. The hook shot, of course, able to stack it up to having 5 hooks at a time. You can traverse the entire arena twice. You can do a round trip with that amount. So definitely utilizing that and being able to sense when they should hold on to something, especially the Alpha Cool, because it's a very, very potent tool. For 8 seconds after using Alpha Cool, they are able to use their second wind, the escape ability, for free, without it going on cooldown. This also affects teammates. So if you manage to use it when somebody comes in for an assist, let's say they try to save you in a dangerous time, or you fear the enemy assist, then you can use it on both yourself and your teammate. That is a lot of safety. That's a huge safety net to be able to have. It's not very often that you might get to that point, but if you do, it's pretty pivotal.
And to be fair, just Ace 5 in general has been the standout gunslinger when it comes to his 3 versus 3 play throughout the tournament today, in terms of playing around his teammates or around his team. As said, he has been the one to look out for overall, I would definitely say. But of course, with the help of having such wonderful setups from the likes of Colorize, it's always going to be that much easier to pull through. But again, having this respective composition going in versus Bed Inventors, with the likes of Piep still playing as good as he is, as always, still consistent, still exceptional, still as scary as ever with the Giga Blade, we will have an interesting matchup. And if there is somebody from the side of Bed Inventors that could be somewhat of a weak link, I guess you could say it's Areas. I mean, I don't want to harp on him too much, but compared to some of his past performance, I would say he's underperforming.
I have no strong feelings either way. Certainly, he didn't feel like he performed his best in Battle Brawl. He definitely had a few lulls here and there in terms of his performance, but right now, at least, he's not actively being dead weight. but he's not doing much either. So we'll have to see if he manages to sort of get back into his stride a little bit, especially since against Team Bai, the threat of Colorized with that wallbang areas seems to be magnetized perpetually to face the wallbang. When Mr. B did against him in the Battle Brawl, whew, yeah, that's some. Just hand me the popcorn because it's about to get salty.
Oh boy, it seems like it's about to get salty indeed because the players are ready and good to go. We will be moving on shortly to the next matchup, which is once again Team Bai versus Team Bet Inventors, and this could very well be a preview of the grand finals, which we'll eventually see. And in terms of the starting members for both of these teams, of course, once again, we'll be curious to know which one it's going to be. As said, we will probably see the likes of the Gunslinger in Ace-5 for Team Bai, whereas on the other side, just like you predicted with Bad Intentions, I would assume we will see areas for Bet Inventors too.
It would make the most sense. Having the Warlock out straight away means that they can reset their own cooldowns and not have to waste an assist helping one of their teammates out instead. However, it's mostly just for the safety net. In terms of actually like opening up, Warlock needs time to summon the Thrall. So we'll have to see if that plays out well. It will actually be Ares and Ace-5 starting us off.
And we'll see who can get a favorable opener here, as so far it's just the Sanctum being popped. Ares playing very defensive here. Does get actually dazed up by Ace-5. Very nicely done there by him, just in an instant on the other side of the arena, as Gunslingers do. Now going on to the Skystone, actually going for the Thrall instead, trying to dish out a lot of damage, maybe forcing out that Time Warp early, but you think it's gonna come in, and with the air launch, Ace-5 is gonna be saved up by Colors, but that could have been disastrous. Now with the Alpha Call, it's going to play aggressive.
Oh, the Thrall's gone!
It's gone. Area's in big trouble. Actually 24%, but the return damage, Aerial Ace-5 is gonna get out! The turnaround, Bet Inventors, definitely on point still, capitalizing off of that small window of opportunity, but it's not over yet.
Oh, overzealous. Certainly overzealous. Ace-5, you got the Thrall, but it cost you your entire health bar and Mew half of theirs. It's not worth, mate. Not worth at all. Zapish with the blue buff, just the flying slam. You can never count this man out. Probably the only person who plays Kung Fu Master who reliably gets flying slams in neutral. Doesn't generally happen. Drag and 5-point strike exchange between Pierre and Colorized. Not a great matchup with Pierre, but Destroyer typically has a better time against Blade Dancers. But Colorized actually immediately tags out back into Mew. Not able to do too much damage here, but he does get the Leech, which does heal a small amount, and the Bastion as well. He's out of a Thrall for a little while. He's probably waiting for it to come back down. The Soaring Falcon, unblockable by the way, the knockdown, forcing Mew to roll, and now the Sanctum is down, preventing some CC from the side of Pierre.
We'll see whether or not he can actually make things happen for his team, especially considering the fact that Areas came in for that assist. The Thrall for Mew actually being extremely low. We will see this time around Piep going for that one instead, but he will get somewhat punished now. Oh, Saltburn is out. Okay, Piep.
Alright, I guess that's Ares' way of helping now. I'm fine with that. It's doing tons and tons of damage onto Colorized as well. Oh, lordy lord. 1%. Nah, it's not going to be enough. Mew, an impossible situation. 1 versus 3. Bet Inventors just on a roll, man.
Oh man, Mew, the last standing member here for Team Bai, is gonna be knocked up into the air. Zapish managing to connect with that one. It's gonna be, as said, as per usual, Herculean task to make a 1v3 happen. Can't really count out Warlocks just yet. The Leech is actually gonna connect, launching Zapish up into the air, so quite a bit of damage will be there, but Piep coming in is gonna be grabbed, and with the blue buff, with that Fighting Spirit, is actually gonna almost secure the kill, even in the Sanctum. Can he do it? Just 6%, 7%, pulls him back in with the Rising Dragon, 9%. The heals are there, but not gonna be quite good enough. Thunderblade, the knock is put down on the ground for now. The Bastion is gonna be up and available for Mew, but the question is, how much longer can he run away? How much longer can he delay the potential inevitable here? As we will see areas come in, we'll have the assistance kept, but it secured the kill as well.
Oof. Oof. That's good. That's good. Mixed feelings. Ace5, you had the right idea, but it's not a 1v1. Just saying. There are other players available who can, well, utterly decimate you when you're not paying attention. So, and it cost your teammate half of their health as well. Definitely not something you want to do. 3 assists on him as well. Very unfortunate. Areas determined to be put on the board using Soulburn. This counts, right, guys? For sure. Well, let's say it does, because it kind of worked to Piev's favor, and he just obliterated Colorized as well. So very well played. Maybe in the second match, the second round, they'll actually change tactics a little bit. Maybe not instantly die. Just a thought.
Well, it was interesting how both of the teams actually opted in to go for the kill onto the Thrall. Of course, by the time Piev managed to secure the kill himself, it was already a 3v2 advantage in their favor, so it was a much easier task on their hands. But with the next round coming up soon enough, we do have to see Team Bai turn things, or rather start to turn things back around, because if they lose the next one, they're knocked down to the losers bracket, and Better Vendors would secure themselves at the very least a second place finish for today in terms of the overall standings and for that potential great seeding going into the finals. So looking good so far for them, but the round is going to start once again. Areas versus Ace5.
Indeed, trying to get a good opener, but Areas will not be cheesed. AlphaCall coming out, Ace5 already having to use his free escape skill. Tombstone coming out as well, but he's behind you, by the way. Just getting chunked, not looking in the right direction there. A bit strange. Now Ace5 out of an escape skill. If he gets caught this time, it could be disastrous.
Ooh.
Please don't have a repeat of what happened. Just get out there. But luckily, the time distortion coming out from Mew, resetting his important cooldowns. He will have Skystone as well, but he opts to tag into Colorized instead. Knocked down by the Soaring Falcon. Not too much from Piev as he... Oh, no, okay, assist immediately into tag in. He said, no, I want this. I'm going to fight for this.
All right, and that already forcing out the Gust out of Colorized. Even the Stone Shield being popped there. But now we'll see whether or not he can capitalize on the Ember Stomp. Actually connects with the knockdown into the air launch. And there's the damage, the Gunslinger damage. Forcing Piev down, and even Zappish losing quite a bit of his HP too. So all of a sudden, Team Bai in control of this matchup. But the question is, can they still secure the win here? You cannot count out Bet Inventors. They can turn it around in a matter of seconds, or even shorter, with the likes of Zappish potentially popping that fighting spirit. So far, Colorized having all of his defensive cooldowns back up is going to be in a pretty good spot potentially here. But now it's going to go ahead, pop that persistence. Zappish still safe with the help of the Strays, but now knocked away with the help of the Typhoon. But can Colorized do anything off of it?
He manages to place down the Ember Stomp just before the Rising Dragon stun. He is affected by Searing Palm, might do a little bit of damage. Now he's launched into the air. This could actually be very, very bad for him. But unable to get too much onto him. Never mind, he does manage to get a little bit of damage onto Zappish, but the Flying Slam, his area of effect after all, and that manages to buy him a little bit of time. Now Colorized in maybe a bad spot. Second wind from Zappish, not very fruitful, and he's forced to tag out, and as is Colorized. Ace5 against Areas, not great. A single aerial from either one can do a lot. There's the Tombstone, but the Sanctum is down for Areas, which is actually preventing Ace5 from utilizing that insane damage he would have gotten otherwise. Both time distortions coming out as well. Ace5 retreats to the safety of his Skystone, but MVP Thrall immediately launching him as he comes back down, trying to get a little bit of damage onto Areas as well now, but it's looking a bit bad for Ace5 with no escapes on him. He really should tag out quite soon, actually. There's the Haze Bomb I mentioned, but unable to capitalize really off of it, and now opposite ends of the arena, the staring match may commence.
Thrall? Hello? Maybe goodbye? But no, Ace-5 actually getting launched up into the air is going to force the assistance of Colorite. So a good intention there. But again, maybe sacrifice a little bit too much in terms of that HP pool. Pieb coming into play instead. Areas doesn't have any more tag outs left. But overall, with Ace-5 being launched up into the air, this could be the end. Especially with the 5-point strike connecting. 0% is his HP. And with that draw, we will see Bad Adventures once again take a huge advantage here. Colorized in that grapples and big trouble potentially too. Does have both his defensive cooldowns up and available, but Pieb with another air launch is going to chunk him out even more so.
Indeed, Ace-5, man, you can't take so many risks. Now Pieb actually ground gaming Colorized very, very well. Colorized being quite patient with his defensive cooldown. He knows he needs them as much as possible. Pieb actually, the dual strike iframe avoids the drag, avoiding it in style. Guardian Tempest now protecting Pieb for a little while. Colorized forced to use his persistence preemptively. He needs to get out of range of that, or that will be his death. Does just in the nick of time. Still very, very unfavorable right now for the side of Team Bai. This certainly, because it could be the one that knocks them down to the loser's bracket. And if that happens, well, Bad Intentions is definitely going to come back with a vengeance. Drag onto Pieb. Good damage. Backstep avoids the Flock of Blades knockback. Now, trying to buy himself a little bit of time. Avoids the knockdown with the Searing Strike iframe. Avoids the 5-point strike as well. But now grabbed. Colorize is just being juggled around. No defensive cooldowns left on him. If Pieb gets a single opening, this could be disastrous. He needs to tag out, and he does.
But now even connecting with the right stun, beautifully done by Pieb there to secure that air launch. He will be forced to tag out, but the Soul Burn is there to play, and Harry is with it. He's going to be able to chunk down that fall very low. The Giga Blade is out, but does not secure a kill this time, as we did see the defensives up for Mew, and with it, he will be able to retaliate. Zapish dropping somewhat low. We'll have that Rising Dragon, but now,
very, very timely.
That could have been disastrous, but as you said, very well timed there on his Ice Guard. And now actually able to connect with the Flying Slam again. This time to Colorize, forced to use his Tab Escape. Let's have that Stone Shield, but Pieb coming back in. This is not looking good for Team Bai.
Not one bit. Ace-5 even still had an assist left on him, poor lad. They could have used that several times over. The Searing Strike avoids the Phantom Grab from Pieb, now launched into the air by Colorized. He's trying his dang best to do what he can. The second win from Pieb, dazing Colorized. Pieb is just so familiar with this matchup. He knows exactly what it's doing. The ground game as well, off of the knockdown and 5-point strike. Zapish comes in with the blue buff and the tremor, but Colorized is still somehow alive. I'm not too certain how. Oh, he used his ultimate. Okay, the iframe from the ultimate managed to keep him alive just a little bit. Now he's trying to do as much damage as he can to Pieb, but he had recently just tagged out and he has none left. And one assist remaining on him. Mew could definitely see that being used, but no assist on his team, so that even though that wallbang was very, very well angled, not much can be achieved.
And with 13% HP left on to Colorize, he's gonna just be obliterated by the Blade Draw. Pieb securing that kill too. Again, only Mew left here for Team Bai, and he couldn't do it the first time. I can't see how he can do it this time, especially with Pieb launching him up into the air with a 5-point strike. Knocks him down on the ground. He does have his escape available, but Mew is just such a difficult position right now, especially since the grapple will connect again. And with the Soul Burn coming out, Mew, it's a matter of time potentially here until you're out, but no, in the meantime, with the time distortion, he's going to be able to do a lot of damage onto Pieb and almost chunking him down.
Ooh, he's holding on for he's keeping it. Did he just deflect two people at once? Wow. Okay, somehow still alive even after that. Very unlucky. All the assists that Benavides have just gotten, you know what, never mind. It doesn't even matter. It's irrelevant information now. Arias finishes him off with that imprison. Ooh, good lord. Caster's curse. Come on. It's like, oh yeah, Ace-5 is gonna pop off. He's gonna be the deciding factor. Well, he was the deciding factor. Not in the way that perhaps anybody really expected, but it seems Bad Intentions will have the rematch with with Team Buy. So, yeah.
Well, you say that, but
I say that.
They still have to go through at least 2 teams before they make it to Team Buy. And speaking of the first team, it is Spice and Juice, which is going to be the next matchup. So, while yes, we do expect Bad Intentions, of course, as the heavy favorites coming into the tournament, yet to be dethroned. Might just happen today because they have to not only win versus Spice and Juice, they also have to win between the victors of Unlucky versus Deletion Service, I believe. So they still have quite tough opponents ahead of them, and it's going to be either way. Still an interesting matchup because Spice and Juice, as said, themselves have an interesting composition, veteran players too, never really able to make it far in terms of these 3 versus 3 tourneys in the past necessarily, but this time around definitely playing much better.
Indeed, there certainly is a chance to dethrone Bad Intentions, and the team that does will kind of go down in a little bit of infamy, you know, irrespective of whether they win or not. Just to be able to say we beat them in a tournament setting is certainly enough. It would certainly be an upset if Bad Intentions didn't make it to the final, but that's out of our hands. That is all up to the teams that are facing Bad Intentions. Well, right now, if Spice and Juice manage to do it now, that's where that saga ends. So, best of luck to both teams. I will probably be #not biased for a second. It would be nice to not see Bad Intentions all the time in the finals, but that's just my opinion. As you can see as well.
Yes, indeed. There is actually a giveaway going on right now. Scarlet Bird costume, in fact, is the prize at hand. So if you wish to grab your hands on that particular one, make sure to follow the link, of course, as the way everything works out overall in the end. There will be, I believe, on Wednesday, the winners selected. And if you won, make sure to check out your emails where you will get the instructions and receive all those goodies. But in the meantime, once again, as well, I want to quickly mention to make sure you guys follow Blade Soul on the Twitch channel as well as YouTube in case you missed any of the action. You can later down the line watch it, of course, back there. Or if you want to see any upcoming previews in terms of the game itself, any future updates, you can make sure to stay up to date. But it seems like indeed it's going to be Bad Intentions versus Spice and Juice coming up next, and no real mix and matches or swaps in terms of their classes that they're playing. It's going to be 10 on Warlock for Bad Intentions with Ryuki on Sin and Mr. B on Des versus Spice and Juice with Zay on BM, Sukani on Sin, and Glacier on the Fan.
Yeah, they're familiar with these classes. They're their main classes, the ones that they've been playing for an incredibly long time. It would probably be a silly move to not play the class that you've been maining in a rather high stakes tournament. After all, first place does go home with 1,500 USD. So definitely you should play your main class, even if it is weak, Cymex.
Not to point anything out or anything, but
no. I would never single a player out. I'm merely expressing in a general sense.
Of course. And one interesting thing to note is the fact that if any of you follows some of these players and their streams on Twitch, we've actually seen Ryuki play Gunslinger. And I wouldn't expect him to pick it up this early already, but with how much success teams like Team Buy had, it would be interesting to see him play it in a tournament setting. But with the future changes in terms of balancing and everything, I would most likely still expect to see him on the Assassin, but it's an interesting thought, for sure.
Just in time to see gonna sling. That's what we're going with now. Yep. That sentence ended real quick. But it does seem that we are, in fact, ready to get on with the match, and it will be the Assassin Mirror to start us off.
Interesting one here, Zukania versus Ryuki, both trying to snipe each other out of stealth, but it's gonna be Ryuki with the advantage, launching his opponent up into the air, already prompting in the assist. Zukania should be able to stay safe with the help of his teammate. But as I say that, already getting dropped to 51%. So Caster Curse in effect time and time again today, it seems, as Ryuki's gonna be forced to use his tab escape. So both Sins, and again, as I keep saying that, Zukania loses his second escape, so never mind. But Ryuki does have the Lotus of Escape at the ready, and he will go ahead and use it again, trying to snipe his opponent, but he's going to get stunned up instead. Mr. B coming in with the assist, but the question is it timely enough, as Ryuki will drop to 33% HP, and then very interesting back and forth between these two.
Most assuredly, but it does seem that Spice and Juicer has a very slight lead for the most part, but Tenna, he has summoned his Thrall now. This could be very, very devastating for him. He has such faith in that Thrall with the Void Slash. Glacier getting launched into the air for free, and Tenna knows there's no point in me engaging when Divine Veil is up. I'm gonna stand here and look from a safe distance. Tenna does actually manage to get guard broken, so forcing out the immediate Bastion. Glacier still relatively safe, but his Divine Veil is down now. Manages to avoid the Tether Blade with the Strafe Forward and into the ice. Now, kind of just biding his time, gets him with the Frost Whirl and the Tech Chase as well with the Force Blast. Tenna now in a very bad position, especially against the wall, but that's not too relevant with the team composition of Spice and Juice. However, Forcemaster can still do quite a bit. A Frostburst actually cancelled immediately, and the Thrall gets completely decimated by Zukania. However, the Time Distortion was able to be used a little bit, and now Glacier, again with the Divine Veil, Tenna not in a fantastic spot. He does have his defensive cooldowns, but it's a bit of a staring match right now.
And it's usually how it goes with these Wizard battles, as we've seen plenty of Warlock versus FM, especially in the 1v1 department in the past with some of the community tournaments. But so far, it's actually going to be Tenna being stunned up, forced to disengage for now, or rather tag out, as it's going to be the Mr. B, infamous Mr. B, coming in here for bad intentions, looking to do some work. 12 seconds left on Glacier. Never mind, he's going to go ahead and tag it himself. Zukania caught on the bad end of it as a result, and he's extremely close to the wall. I don't like that for him, but seems like he manages to still stay safe for now, as Mr. B was to use his Gust, will still have the persistence available as he connects with the Ram, but can he do anything else?
He's being incredibly cautious. He's taking him to the walls. Kenny realizes what's happening, and he immediately stealths out of that one. He does not want to be on the receiving end of that, because that will most certainly result in his death, especially at such low health values. But now, no defensive cooldowns. This could be devastating. Zukania launch into the air, not able to get too much health, and he will get blown up by Tenna. However, Mr. B does get a little bit of damage onto him as well from the side of Zay, hoping to avenge his teammate a little bit, but now no second wind available on Zay. Could be devastating. Mr. B does still have his persistence available, but no Typhoon. He just used that, so he won't have that for at least another 45 seconds. Huge damage with the Searing Slash. Avoids the persistence as well. Zay is just... oh my goodness, he's just hammering away and staying relatively safe, but without the flock of blades, this is looking pretty bad indeed. Luckily, only the initial hit of that ultimate landed. Zay should really get out of there, but did he just strafe Lotus Kick and stun him with Flicker? All right, that's going on the highlight reel for real. But now super low, does manage to get out with just a fraction of his health, just barely surviving. Glacier now with the Frostburst inside the Divine Veil. This is actually pretty bad for Spice and Juice.
We'll see whether or not Glacier can make something happen. At the very least, force a kill onto Ryuki or this B, but as a result, with Mr. B coming in, this is just horrendous for him. Still manages to stay safe and alive for now with the help of that Frost Chief, but again, the question is for how long, as we will see him actually heal up almost to full with the Frost Starters, so not quite what Tenna was looking for, especially with the wall bang coming in, but the Bastion was there.
Unlucky for that. Zay actually, I don't know, expressing his disdain for the wall by ulting directly into it. So that was unfortunate. Glacier pretty much in a 1 versus 3 scenario. Zay with no assists on him and with basically no health. It's gonna be really rough for him when he gets inevitably auto-tagged in. But Glacier is holding on as best he can, doing a little bit of damage to Tenna, setting him on fire, trying to do some amount of damage to get back, but the untappable leech combo and the Glacier, all that health he recovered for naught. However, they almost getting tenor back, but it's so close, and the 6%. He's holding on so carefully. 7%, 8%. Come on!
The deflect. Projectile deflect there. Not quite enough. Almost at the very least secures a return kill. You know, it's a small victory. Sometimes you gotta be going for it, Barney. But this time around was not meant to be. Bad intentions coming in with a vengeance. Gonna be able to take that first round, of course, but it's not over just yet. However, Spice and Juice, they really need to step it up. They need to secure a win here if they are to advance throughout the losers bracket, because if they're out this time around, they're completely out. It's double elimination format, and this is the losers bracket.
Well, they certainly do have a second chance. It is their only chance, so they definitely need to bring it, bring their all to this matchup, because, well, you really shouldn't underestimate Bad Intentions. Some people say, oh, they're overhyped. Yeah, okay. They're also really good. It's like stereotypes, right? They exist not, for a reason. Someone sometime must have done a certain thing that makes that a thing. So Bad Intentions definitely, okay, maybe they were a little bit overhyped at one point, but they certainly have proven themselves to be well deserving of their praise. It's certainly a lot of mental pressure as well to be facing previous champions. So being able to work around that and sort of calm yourself down to the point where you can function at your very, very best.
And we'll see the Sin Mirror matchup once again commence. Actually, Ryuki getting the opener here. The setup, interestingly enough, will look to follow it up, forcing that tab escape at the very least on both sides, actually. But it's gonna be Zukane, the one to be stunned up, and now with the Typhoon, it's not gonna connect, not gonna really put him into the wall. No ball banks for you this time around. With Bad Intentions, and as a result, will be Ryuki with a slight advantage in terms of the matchup. He still has the Lotus available, of course, whereas Zukane is out of that particular option. Actually, doesn't get to snipe him off, and as a result, we will see the Time Warp come out, reset a cooldowns. We've seen this in the past plenty of times by Bad Intentions. This is one of the things they definitely like doing quite often than not. And Zukane now, with the tab escape being out of the question, again, he gets caught off, and this is not looking good.
Not one bit. The free stun as well. Luckily, Zay coming in there as a very, very potent deterrent, able to get quite a bit of damage onto Ryuki as well, giving Zukane some much-needed breathing room. Although Ryuki now, with only his flower left, and Zukane in much the same position. However, he is on the receiving end of the damage, and now with no flower left, almost gets just killed in neutral, which is the worst way to go. Zay opened up as well. Tenor coming in, trying to do as much damage as he can. Glacier, however, able to save his teammate for a little while longer. Still, very, very, very strong start for Bad Intentions. Definitely not something you would want to have happen to you on the side of Spice and Juice.
Oh, those hits, those crits, but Emberstorm was popped, tap escape forced out, so Ryuki Fangirl or Zay in this position is gonna have quite a bit of issue dealing with the likes of Mystery Beyond that Destroyer. Now actually connected with the Soaring Falcon will prompt the assistance of his teammate. Typhoon was used again, and as a result, overall, you'll still see Spice and Juice stay pretty safe in this neutral game, launching him up into the air, and they followed up with anything no answer. So far, an assist did come in previously, and now need up all into the wall. That's not where you want to be, as we will see the grapple save him for now, but that was looking really dangerous for Spice and Juice again.
Again with the Ice Mine, they just can't catch a break. Mr. B using this time to heal himself up quite a bit. The Dragon, unfortunately, not going to connect onto Zay. Now he's just trying to create some space as well. Does not want to engage whatsoever when the Ember Stomp is up. 5-point strike unsuccessful, much to his dismay, no doubt. Maybe trying to look for the Soaring Falcon. Ow! Rushes into a deflect. Come on, mate. Let's not do that now. Luckily, Zukane is on the task, trying to do a huge amount of damage. Whoa! Poison Breath, chunking Mr. B down a lot. But with Zay out of an escape, he's gonna go down. post haste.
Ooh.
Although
it's-
it did get a bit of damage, it's not going to be quite enough.
It's still potentially pretty dangerous here, though, for bad intentions. But luckily for this B, or Mr. B, he was saved up by the tag out. And now coming back in is going to look to save up his teammates, too. As we'll see Tenna surely have his time warp available soon enough. Frost Chief to get proc Sanctum out of play. The Frost Burst actually connecting onto him, but using that escape to get into a better position. We'll see whether or not he will go ahead and get the air launch. He does connect Glacier, though. Still healthy for now. Question is for how long, as the Veil still down and about. Bastion will soon to time out here for Tenna. And as a result, he's just going to straight ahead go into that time warp.
Oh yeah, that's unfortunate. Tenna essentially got all of that for free. A tab escape from Glacier, a tab escape from Sucania as well, and he has no flower. This is very, very bad. He does actually get the leech before the
Oh no.
rocks. Oh, that's disastrous. That's gonna feel just that's just gonna ruin your day.
And with the blue buff, of course, coming in with that help by Ryuki, does secure the kill. Now Glacier, the single member remaining here for Spice Ninjas. We even see the ultimate come out of the Mr. B, but it's not gonna really amount to much, as you will see Glacier get a hold of this particular engage for now. But as I say that, of course, they get dazed up, now hit by the Typhoon, knocked away. Mr. B, can he close it out? Knows the answer, as he's actually gonna go ahead and tag out Tenna coming into play. The ultimate being used now by Glacier, but shouldn't be able to set up much here, as he's gonna get launched up into the air. 19%, make that a 0 off of the ulti too. And bad intentions secured the win.
Yeah, that was actually quite well played by Tenna there. I'm fairly certain he wouldn't have been able to finish Glacier off if he had just used his Dimensional Volley and Dragon Helix. Force Master does have the added benefit of having a slight defense boost after using, frost skills and such. And especially since he had just come out of Divine Veil, that was still active for a little while longer. So he decided, well, the initial hit of my ultimate hits pretty hard. Let's just use that. Who cares? And it worked. And it definitely, well, Glacier cares because he's dead now, but they certainly tried quite hard to put up a fight. But with their members going down so very quickly in the beginning of each round, yeah, it didn't seem very likely.
Still, even with that being said, I think in the second round overall, they had much better play and came closer to a potential win, chunking both Mr. B as well as Ryuki pretty low. So definitely, I like what I saw to Spice and Juice. I hope they keep playing as a team, because I'm excited to see whether or not they will remain strong in the future and come back even stronger as that particular team. But of course, before we move on to our next matchup, we will have a short break. Don't go anywhere. And welcome back to the Rumble in the Realm. Of course, my name is Brunch, joined by Barney, and we've had some surprising results, some to be expected. Of course, Bad Intentions being knocked out into the losers bracket was somewhat surprising, but at the same time, Team Bai coming in really strong. And there's a lot to play out here for Barney, for all these players.
Definitely. As a reminder, 1,500 US dollars for first place, 1,200 for second place, 900 for third place, and for fourth place, you have 300 US dollars in Hongmoon coins. So, take your pick, and may the trove luck be with you.
But of course, we will also have a few more giveaways going on. Make sure to stay tuned. Of course, it is in reference to the Scarlet Bird costume if you wish to get your hands on that one. As said, stay tuned. Make sure to click the link that will be posted and follow that one up. The winners will be announced, I do believe, on Wednesday. And if you won, make sure to keep your emails checked in case you do go ahead and win such code. And there you go. As you can see right now, the code is down below. But once again, coming up next, it's still the losers bracket. Up in the winners bracket, Bend Adventures are going to be waiting patiently off of their victory against Team Bai for their next opponents. In the meantime, we will see Bad Intentions versus Team Unlucky coming up next. So an interesting matchup. Seems like the Deletion service did get knocked out by Team Unlucky. So in a sense, somewhat surprising, but at the same time, what do you think was the big deciding factor most likely there as to why Unlucky still made it through?
Underestimation. Probably underestimation. I feel like as much as the community as a whole loves to say the memes of him, I think it's probably unfair to Luki to constantly be sort of, going kind of putting him down a little bit, because I do believe that he has been, he's been practicing hard. He's not just been faffing about, he has potential that he wants to realize, and that he kind of, wants to show off to everybody that, yeah, I am still #1 Blade Master. Don't let anybody fool you into thinking otherwise. But now, of course, he's in a very interesting situation because he's against former teammates. So definitely going to be a few mind games there. Knowing what they do, how they play, what they prefer to do as well. Especially the it's really no surprise to anyone at this point, the infamous Tenaryuki blue buff aerial damage combo extravaganza.
Extraordinaire.
Yeah,
there you go.
Both of those things at the same time. So, avoiding that situation is certainly something that is going to be pivotal in deciding the match. I feel Ryuki, especially with his blue buffs, is just, he knows exactly when to go in. He's not afraid of going in, and he knows how to. He always has a contingency as well. He'll go in, but he'll immediately try to get around any potential obstacles, strafe around the enemy, get into a better position, maybe even get behind them, backstep into shadow slip, instantly teleports behind you, whatever that meme is.
Not even gonna go into it.
So we'll have to see how that plays out. Luki should have an advantage technically. If he manages to pass on that information to the rest of his team, then who knows, they might actually be able to close it out.
And just in general, it's an interesting matchup because we all know Cymex being Tenna's best friend still. Not quite sure how he still feels about him when it comes to his gunslinger, because it seems like Cymex will indeed go for the gunslinger yet again. No summoner. And you've expressed yourself as to why you would prefer his summoner, but at the very least, in theory, if he plays to his team composition strength, this should be still better, right?
I mean, as a slip of the tongue, it does kind of ring true. Gunner's gonna sling, so it might work. If it does, then they're gonna be in a very, very good position. If not, well, you should have played summoner. We're going to save that for the aftermath of this. Who knows? You know, let's be optimistic. Let's keep the faith. Let's say, yes, Cymex is going to be the deciding factor. He's going to... Did you see that amazing crossfire? Oh, wish I could press buttons like that.
Press 4? Indeed. We'll see whether or not that will be the case, of course, because it's most likely going to be, once again, Cymex opening things up for his team, whereas on the other side, as we've said previously quite a few times, most likely it's going to be the Warlock on the under end. I expect to see Tenna lead for Bad Intentions, and they really need to make this work. They really need to make this happen if they are to get their revenge against Team Bai, and especially to do that also on stream, because you want to get as high as possible in that top 4 seeding for that grand finals for sure.
Oh yeah, definitely. With how these two teams have been so far, we can only speculate on what we've seen for Team Unlucky. We can mostly speculate based off of the players, but not the team as a whole. So far, I'm unconvinced. I definitely think that they need to try to play around their strengths as much as they possibly can, which in the current setup they have, it's going to be Cymex on the Gunslinger. They need to protect him because the sheer damage that he offers is probably the highest burst in the game right now. Maybe Lightning Draw is also a thing, but for the most part, Crossfire is incredibly powerful. Tombstone as well allows a lot of free damage. If Tenna manages to get caught out without Sanctum, without his Thrall, it doesn't matter whether he can block or not, because Tombstone's going to, it just doesn't care. It's going to make Unload unblockable. So it's a lot of free damage. If Cymex goes down, they lose a huge amount of utility. A huge amount. Because they don't have a Warlock.
And damage.
And damage as well. They can't afford to make as many mistakes as Bad Intentions, because Bad Intentions can just say, "Yo, Tenna, can you reset my cooldowns, please?" And so he comes in and does so.
And we've seen that happen so many times when it comes to especially him playing with Ryuki. Ryuki plays aggressive, forces out a bunch. In return, he uses a lot of his defensives, but it doesn't matter because, again, as you said, Tenna just comes in, says, "I got you, fam," got that reset going, and it just gets him an easy advantage over his opponent. So we'll see whether or not that will come into play again. Overall, they've played quite aggressive, I'd say, tonight from what we've seen, and I'm interested to see once again if it's going to be that classic Cymex versus Tenna matchup to start things off here.
It would certainly be an interesting thing to see, since they've played against one another so very many times in the past. On numerous classes, not necessarily just their mains. I'm sure that they know each other's mindsets, and hopefully they'll be able to use it in a good way here. But starting off, it seems that Cymex actually the one getting cheese opened by Ryuki instead. That was an odd sentence. Was it cheese opened? All right. Well, we're gonna roll with it. Now on the Skystone, Ice Mine actually. Wait, what? Okay. Ice Mine apparently has quite some vertical range on it, able to get Cymex off of that Skystone. Now, Antrax coming in, trying to do a little bit of help here with the Frost Sheath as well. Ryuki re-stealthing, just sort of buying himself some time. Cymex once again on the Skystones. Now, Tombstone is active, trying to maybe get Ryuki out of stealth. Very timely dodge by Ryuki to avoid the bulldoze. There's the Alpha Call as well to give him that free escape skill. Still has his main one up. The stealth forced out of Ryuki. He's actually not using the normal Lotus. I have just noticed that, and that's actually quite important.
The kill potential that could come out if he's using, of course, the Fighting Spirit variant, which I would suspect would be definitely something unexpected here for Team Unlucky. But considering the fact that there is no flower in sight, I mean, at this point, they should know it's coming. Especially with Ryuki still not having that Tab Escape, now just waiting out his opponent, looking for an opening. Doesn't get it, just yet gets launched. Oh, this beautiful Haze Bomb coming out of Cymex, but again, with the help of Mr. B, it's still not going to be quite there just yet. Luki coming in, actually trying to make something happen, but the Tab Escape was available for Ryuki. Still 5 seconds left on that timer. He's going to wait it out, potentially stuns him up, and looks for a disengage potentially here.
Ooh, but luckily the auto tag gets both of them out instantly. Now Tenor versus Luki. He does have his flock up, so some amount of damage mitigation. However, Dragon Helix doesn't actually care all too much about that warding spirit. However, now that that's ended, the leech comes out into the Untitled aerial. The blue buff from Ryuki, and Luki is just, well, he's a sad, sad boy, isn't he? Antrax coming in, trying to get some return damage onto Tenor, but Mr. B is there to assist with the iron plating. It's already pretty bad for Unlucky, and well, they're gonna need to really, really pull out all the stops to even get back to equal in this current round.
Ooh, especially with Ryuki actually dodging that Phantom Grip as well as forcing the second win out of his opponent, still having his tap escape. But as I say that, of course, it's not going to be the case any longer. This is coming in out of Luki, actually trying to go in for the Soaring Falcon, I believe there. Let's have that Hogmoon block time out shortly enough. Antrax looking to get his opponent out of stealth. Ryuki, though, still being evasive, managing to dodge for quite a bit, but now finally gets grappled up. Antrax, who is he gonna go for the wall? No, drops him out nearby. Does have Mr. B, of course, come in for that save. Even the option to use that Typhoon, just force that Frost Chief out of his opponent.
But now he has no assist left until the 3-minute mark. And that could have been quite a lot of potential with the wallbangs, but now Antrax actually... Excuse me? What was that damage? Tombstone and the Inferno just detonated onto Ryuki. So little health on him, just barely able to survive. They opt to send Mr. B in because he has no more assists left, but now they can actually still make use of the wallbang if somebody else comes in to assist, especially with that blue buff from Ryuki. Unlucky absolutely cannot afford to be caught near the wall right now. Antrax is now trying to buy himself some time with the Frost Armor and the Frost Burst. Since there's no drag available for Mr. B, Antrax will surely be tagged out in about a second.
Oh, but nicely timed by Mr. B. We'll see whether or not he can capitalize off of it so far. It's not really getting to be the case. As Cymex on that Gunslinger still dancing around, will make use of that Sky Stone and should be able to stay safe for now, as he's going to continue to dish out quite a bit of damage onto the destroyer. Forces that tab escape at the very least, so we'll see whether or not he's going to pop that Alpha Call. He's going to go for it in return, able to play quite aggressive, but now with the Typhoon with the wallbang, is the kill there? It is!
Wait, Luki got caught as well.
I guess I didn't even catch that one, as that's exactly what happens in that scenario. And Antrax now feeling the pain of the buffed up Mr. B with that particular soul burn. Now pops the Persistence, just looking to finish off and close out the job. Even does so with the ultimate too. And it's gotta be Bad Intentions now, up 1-0.
No respect whatsoever. How that? That doesn't make you feel very good. I can't really imagine being in their position right now. That's just...
It's not like it's a secret strategy. It's not like it's to not be expected. Oh, they did that? What? No.
No. Can't believe that.
Exactly. So, in a sense, yeah, you could argue, hey, you know it's coming. Hey, you know you should keep away from those walls. But it's so tough when you find yourself caught in that position. It's just, even Luki trying to come in for the assist, there's just nothing you can do. And as we've seen, he just died for it as well.
Yeah, I'm not even too certain whether it was whether he was automatically tagged in after Cymex's death or if it was an assist. Either way, he died as well. And again, being forced into a 1 versus 3 against Bad Intentions, they get to the point where they say, we're not afraid about losing at all. Hey, Mr. B, do you want Soulburn?
I think that's definitely a yes, but still, it is going to be Bad Intentions up 1-0 so far, living up to your predictions as to them looking likely to get their rematch against Team Bai. Of course, Unlucky still very well played by them overall tonight, securing themselves a high position in the standings overall, even if they go out of this one. And so far, it's going to be Ryuki once again to open things up here for Bad Intentions.
Indeed, trying to maybe get a good opening onto Cymex, but the bulldoze actually hits Ryuki out of the Bolt Strike again. No regular Lotus of Escape on him. Tombstone is there with the, oh my goodness, did he stunned him out of the Lotus Kick. That was incredibly lucky and good timing from him, forcing Mr. B to use his assist to prevent Ryuki from just getting decimated there. Now, with the time distortion from Tenna, Ryuki has his cooldowns reset. And Cymex out of Skystone, out of Tombstone, definitely not something that he wants to, the position that he wants to be in right now. He does still have it, the Skystone available to him. He might choose to go up to it eventually. There we go. Setting up his second one as well. Trying to buy himself as much time as he can. The Ice Mine not going to connect this time around with its extendo range. Now, Cymex trying to buy himself some time. Oh, bulldozes into him to close the gap and stun launches him into the air, forcing out another assist from Mr. B. They really want to try and save those for wallbangs, but if this is a repeat of last match, which it certainly does not look like it is this time around, they're going to want those wallbangs for sure.
So far, it's going to be still Cymex in play here for Team Unlucky. 12 seconds left on his time here, just darting around, disengaging for now. Tenna looking to chase him down. We'll have that Sanctum at the very least to keep him safe. Skystone was popped as well for the Gunslinger here, but the timeout will be on its way. Anthrax now coming into play here for Team Unlucky up against Tenna, and he's actually going for the Thrall, dealing out quite a bit of damage. It's gonna time out soon enough as well, so it's gonna manage to, at the very least, launch him up into the air. And with it, Tenna now potentially in a bit of trouble, but no, he does have the bash and he does have the help of Mr. B. But with the Frost Armor in effect here for Anthrax, he's going to be able to stay safe for an extended amount of time.
Indeed, now Anthrax trying to get the opening onto Tenna. He does land the Force Blast, immediately forcing out a second wind, but the Thrall's onrush into the immediate launch is certainly proving to be the MVP for the side of Tenna. And now the time distortion does come out, Tenna backsteps into it to get its full effect. Anthrax kind of has to run away. Not sure he has either of his ice up, but he does have the Divine Veil, which is going to prevent some amount of damage. Still opts for the second win. A little bit strange. Wouldn't have done that myself, to be honest. Dragon Well to get Tenna out of the Sanctum. With no backstep on him just yet, he can't go back into it. Now Guard broken, forced to backstep completely away. Anthrax seeing that the opportunity, and Cymex as well, trying to do as much as they can, but the immediate tag out into Mr. B. They absolutely have to be careful about wallbangs now. It was their downfall last time. They certainly have to try and avoid it and not get deflected and then forced to backstep into the wall. We were just talking about this. Oh no!
Oh man, Caster Curse is just on point tonight, it seems like, as we'll see Luki be the one to feel the brunt of that force this time around straight up, and with a 2v3, already such a difficult task to take down Bad Intentions. Now that you're down a member, I just don't see that really happening, but maybe Cymex has other plans up his sleeve, and so far he's going to be able to dish out quite a bit of damage onto Mr. B, forcing the tag out for now. But again, 3 versus 2 is just unlucky so far, truly, for them.
Absolutely. Goodness me, Luki. He must be livid right now. It's like, oh, come on. I just got tagged in and I'm already dead. But now Anthrax and Cymex are the only ones left. They have to try and do as much as they can. Anthrax with 3-minute cooldown on his Frost Armor, healing up a little bit, trying to actually get the Thrall down, and he is actually successful in doing so. But against that team, Ryuki still has 2 assists left. And if he's timing them well, he's going to have his blue buff up by the time he comes around next.
And we'll see whether or not that's going to be, once again, the thing to close this one out. So far, it's going to be Anthrax under quite a bit of pressure. Should be able to stay safe for now, as his Tabscape or second win should be coming out of cooldown, but already forced to use it. We'll see. Even Cymex come into play. No more assists left for him. Only 2 minutes left until they each, or rather both of these teams, receive extra ones. And at this point, Anthrax tagging out noticing the fact that he also does have 2 assists left. Good to go. It's just, again, just such a bad spot to be in. If you are Unlucky, and speaking of bad spots to be in...
You can't be serious. You can't be serious. A second time, actually a third time, counting the first round as well. And now Antrax is just gonna... I don't know if he has any fight left in him, to be honest. After that, I would also just sit down and wait to die. But goodness me, every single time. Mr. B was also praised for his just incredible timing for spying out the wall bangs. Now he's just abusing Antrax, all of them again in this 1 versus 3 scenario. Antrax is just powerless to do anything, and he'll just get cleaved down.
And Bad Intentions demonstrating why they are still one of the top teams here in the EU scene, or in the West even. Of course, looking to get their rematch up against Team Bai, who knocked them into the losers bracket in the first place. And it seems like it was a close matchup too in that particular case, only losing 2-1. So I'm curious to see what is going to happen this time around. But overall, still well played for Team Unlucky coming into this one as a new setup, a new, or rather a new team with older players still performing relatively well, making it through quite far. We'll see what they can do tomorrow in the grand finals, of course. But in the meantime, coming up next, it will be, once again, as said, the rematch between Team Bai and Bad Intentions.
That's a spicy one. We didn't actually get to see this one occur, but from, as you mentioned, it was actually pretty close. It was a 2-1. So it's entirely possible that it was incredibly close at the final match. It could have been a stomp at the final match. It could have been just, inting. You never know. They could have just said, we'll have another chance. It doesn't matter too much. But, yeah.
All right, so I'm getting a couple of updates. It seems like the grand finals, the last few top 4 matchups, will be played indeed tomorrow. These are your top 4 seeds. First off, Bad Inventors, of course, claiming their win up against Team Bai, knocking them to the 2nd spot. And with Bad Intentions now climbing their way back up through the losers bracket, they secured themselves the 3rd spot in terms of seeding overall for tomorrow, with Unlucky, of course, or rather Team Unlucky, closing it off in that 4th seed. So
it's bad when you refer to the player as that.
It's unfortunate, to say the least, but still, nevertheless, thank you so much for watching. Of course, once again, add a chance to win the costume, as you can see down below in just about a second. There's a link that I believe is still going on right now. But nevertheless, make sure to follow the Blade Soul YouTube page in order to catch up on any of the missed matches. Make sure to also follow up the Blade Soul Twitch channel so you don't miss out the North American 3 vs 3 finals, which are happening later on tonight. And of course, the European finals, which are going to go ahead on tomorrow. Once again, though, my name's been Bruce, joined by Barney. Once again, thank you so much for casting with me.
It's been my pleasure, mate. Thanks for having me.
And of course, until then, see you guys next time. Bye-bye.